Hello and welcome to another episode of the Uncommon Energy Podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to be talking about a new TCG tabletop simulator that was released by a member of the community, not Twin Leaf, which we did a whole episode about not too long ago. We will talk about the results from the Champions League tournament that took place over in Japan in Kyoto. Crazy results there, some wacky decks in the top 16, and maybe something a little unexpected getting the win. We'll talk about that, of course. We will have Guess That Flavor Text, everyone's favorite segment of the podcast. And then we're going to talk about the absolutely absurd new cards that were revealed. Really, just one of them is the absurd new card. The return of the A-Specs, a bunch more future and ancient Pokemon, new trainer cards as well. Tons to talk about on this week's episode. You're not going to want to miss it. And then, of course, we will wrap things up with our bonus episode over on the Patreon. If you are a supporter of us over there on Patreon, you get that 30 extra minutes every single week of content from myself and Azul. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in hearing more from us and showing us a little bit of support. It's patreon.com/uncommon energy podcast. My name is Chip Ritchie, joined here as always by my friend and co-host Azul GG. Azul, what's going on, man? How's your week been? I guess first off as well, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all those good things. We are actually recording on Christmas Day tonight, recording a little earlier than normal. But yeah, Merry Christmas. How's your holidays been, Azul?
It's been fine. Didn't do too much for the holidays. Usually visit some family, either mine or Lorelai's. Um, but no family visiting this time around, so just kind of chilling at the house. I was gonna stream today, but then I started doing some other stuff. Worked on some other stuff, just in general, like for my content and stuff. So still working, I guess, but didn't end up streaming. And but yeah, had a good day. The week's been good. Had some good streams over the weekend though, streaming the Champions League, Kyoto. That was pretty that was fun. Fun streams with that. I like doing those kind of streams. It's hard to like line them up though. Um because like the European regional streams start at like midnight for me. Latin America doesn't have tournaments. Australia has tournaments that line up for me good with time zone, but they're not streamed.
Yeah.
So Champions Leagues works perfectly. The Champions Leagues work perfectly. Starts up about 4 p.m. my time and usually ends around 1 a.m. So that works. That's like perfect. That's perfect. And then obviously I travel to all the North American events, so I don't get to do too many of like kind of the watch party type streams. But it was really fun to do it this time around. So I had a ton of fun with that over the weekend. And then yeah, just gonna be doing some more streaming this week and all that kind of fun stuff. But how about you, Chip? Have your holidays been so far? How was your weekend?
It was pretty good. Spent some time with family the last few days, which was fun. Yeah, Christmas is a lot of fun with a kid, man. Even though he's still tiny and doesn't like understand a lot of stuff that's going on, it's like just fun to watch him around like my family and like watch the family kind of like react to him and stuff like that. And then also um watch him like get his new gifts and stuff like that and open up like unwrap presents really for the first time. It was kind of fun, like him figuring out like to pull the paper and getting into boxes and getting excited about all his new toys. We're very lucky to have a big family on both sides. My wife's family pretty big, my family pretty big, and they both love buying gifts for Samuel. So it's like we're very blessed in that. But the problem is there's so many baby toys in our house now, so many kid toys. It's like it's kinda ridiculous how much stuff he got for Christmas, to be honest. And then, also, like, usually I mean, even though, like, I'm an adult now, my parents and my wife's parents, like, they'll go out of their way and, like, get us, some good gifts every single year, and I'm very thankful. My parents still got us, like, plenty of gifts and stuff, but it's like my gifts this year compared to in the past, it's like I got a lot of new shirts and I got a new sports jacket to wear on stream potentially, which is great, very nice. But
Nice.
then it's like, I'm getting the clothes and Sam is getting all the fun stuff, which is it's fun to watch him, just react and get excited about all that stuff though. So very much enjoying it's very different because like last Christmas we had him last Christmas, but he was like 3 months old. And then
Yeah.
this Christmas it's like he's actually reacting and doing stuff. It's just really fun to watch.
Sounds like a good time for sure. Um, but yeah, I think we can go ahead and jump into it then.
Let's do it.
First topic, something that kind of just popped up right before. I guess early was it earlier today? Earlier
Yeah,
today,
earlier
right?
today.
Yeah, so not right before we started recording, but earlier today, which was a new tabletop simulator. Been a lot of discussion around tabletop simulators with Twin Leaf, which we haven't really heard too much about since we had our episode with Dan TDM. But now this has popped up, and yeah, everyone's kind of excited for it. It looks like for sure.
Yeah, kinda popped out of nowhere, to be honest. Didn't see it coming at all, but yeah, just a pretty it looks like just a two-player version of the PokeStats or not PokeStats, Limitless Tabletop Simulator that a lot of people use already for coaching and testing and stuff like that, and this is just kind of like a two-player version of it. You do have to do everything manually, it's not simulated at all, so if you discard your hand for research, you have to click discard hand, draw however many cards, but yeah, Azul and I went in there and messed around with it for a second. Looks like it functions just fine. A little clunky to get used to at first compared to, TCG Live where everything just happens for you. You do have to do everything manually with it. But it's really cool. Yeah. Just another option for people to try to get some practice in, probably a good tool for coaching, those type of things. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, Azul is someone who does a lot of coaching. Could you see yourself using something like this over TCG Live?
Yeah, I mean, depending on how functional it is, I haven't gotten into it too much. I loaded up a deck earlier, and it varies. Yeah, like nothing is really automatic from what I can tell. Everything is basically. I mean, there's like the hotkeys for like drawing cards, discarding cards, whatever.
Yeah.
But nothing's automatic. You can't like play a research and then discard your hands. So you can draw 7 cards, as far as I can tell, anything like that. But for coaching, maybe yeah, I could definitely see using this something for something like coaching. I think a lot of people could potentially utilize this for testing against themselves, which a lot of people don't. I don't think I actually just think a lot of people don't know about doing that, to be honest, because like
Yeah.
it's not something you really think about. So who knows? People listening to this might take away that from this episode and be like, "Oh, testing against yourself. I never really thought about that." But that's definitely a very useful way to test. It's very mentally draining, though. I would say it's probably the most mentally draining form of testing because you have to think about uh, the game from both sides consistently throughout the game. And you're really trying to create like a perfect game of Pokemon
Yeah.
with that form of testing. And it's just like very, I was just very draining. Like even like though you're not really playing for anything by playing on PTCG Live, still climbing the ladder and like getting the rewards and the points and all that stuff is like playing towards something. So yeah, and like it's more enjoyable to play with the cards IRL against someone else as well, and like be interacting with someone else. So it is really mentally draining to like test by yourself, but it is a very good form of testing for sure. So I think this could definitely be used strongly for that. And like yeah, coaching, like you said, also be another good use for this for sure.
Yeah, I think it's cool, especially for the Gym Leader Challenge community, because
Yeah.
as of now, there's not really been a great way to play Gym Leader Challenge online. I think that in the Tricky Gym Discord, they run like weekly webcam tournaments, which is cool and good. But ever since TCGO went down, TCG Live doesn't support all of the cards legal for Gym Leader Challenge. So I think that's another cool use. The ability to potentially run retro tournaments and stuff like that, I think is very cool. But again, everything is done manually, so it does open up opportunities when you're trying to do tournaments and stuff for people to like, cheat, draw too many cards. There can be disputes of what happened, what should have happened. But it's good that there's like a turn log, right? You can see exactly what happens in a turn. So usually stuff like that should be able to be mediated by a judge of some sort, I would imagine. But yeah, I'm excited. If there's like some sort of retro tournament or GLC tournament using this, I might try to hop in and see how it goes. Um, I could
Yeah, I
definitely
think
see
that
this. That could be like one of the best uses for this right now, honestly.
yeah, to be honest, yeah, like for GLC, I guess like that old form. What have people been using besides what have
Oh,
people been
people
using for
use
old formats?
what TCG1.
Yeah. I forget without even looking. But this looks better than TCG1, doesn't it? If I remember
TCG1, I
correctly.
am not a big fan of, just because of, um,
What is the TC I put the wrong thing.
it's
TCG1.
play.tcg1.net.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I put TC. I somehow ended up with a TCE one. That's not the right one. TCG1 is
Yeah, you
correct.
can hop in and like watch people's games. People use this mostly for like old formats a lot of the time. There's an expanded unbanned format going on tournament right now.
But
Can I
I don't
see
know where
what
I
game?
am. How do you even play game? Is that what I click on the top right there?
Yeah, you're gonna have to create an account if you don't have one or sign in.
I maybe have one. I don't know if I
Okay,
have
there we
one.
go. I can see who I'm spectating.
Oh, you can spectate on it
Expanded
though?
unbanned game that's happening right now.
Okay, wait, that's kinda cool that you can spectate though. I didn't know you could do that.
You can do that. And that is a difference between this and something like a simulator, like a simulator you have to, like, plan with a friend to go in and play.
Yeah.
This you can just queue up against random people, which I think that is cool, but this just, like, I mean, it works, right? But it just doesn't look great. I've always compared watching a game on TCG1 to, like, watching someone try to play Pokemon using Microsoft Excel, like, that's what it feels like.
It definitely looks a little clearer, cleaner, a little new on the on TCG Sim, but I can see, um yeah, that's dude, honestly, I didn't know you could spectate on that other one. That's kinda sick, to be honest. Why like, that's also, like, another feature that
Spectate
we
games. Well, it's like
yeah,
there's
we've kind of
not
wanted.
matchmaking, right? So you can't spectate if there's not matchmaking. I guess you could spectate, like, rooms if you had, uh yeah, I wonder actually, could you join this? Could you join a room? You can, like, generate a room and share the ID. Can you join it as a spectator? That would be something
That would be cool
I'd
to
be
see, but
curious
that's
to know.
yeah, I just wish you could, like, spectate. It makes me just, like, think about, like, being able to spectate on PTCG Live. It'd just be nice to be able to spectate on PTCG Live is what I'm, like, thinking now. That would be, like we don't have that as a possibility, but that would be cool. It's one of those things that I definitely wished we've had for a
Well,
while.
and another thing, like, that's big on Pokemon Showdown, the VGC battle simulator game, a thing that's huge on there is replays. You can, like, go back and watch people's past battles and stuff. So, like, if someone is the top rank of the ladder, you can go back and watch their different games and their climb to the first rank.
That's cool, actually. That's actually kinda sick. Yeah. That's actually I guess that's one thing we never that's, like, the one thing that I to be honest, I actually tweeted that, I think, at some point. Was, like, well, back when PTCG Live first dropped, when everyone was, like, complaining about all the things that were warranted to complain about. I feel like no one even and I also didn't know that there was no way to spectate. That was not something that was ever mentioned, which would be, like, something that'd been cool to add. I don't know how, like, in other games, if
It
that's a
would have been cool
thing.
as something that, like, differentiated it from PTCGO, right? Because
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
have any of that.
Like, in Hearthstone, you can spectate your friends and stuff like that. It'd be honestly even cool if you could just go, like, who is it? I think I don't even know who does it. Maybe it was, like, Tim the Tatman, where he'll, like, go play Warzone and sing solos, and he'll die, and then he'll just, like, spectate the person who killed him for the rest of the
Yeah, yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it'd be funny if on PTCG Live, you could just spectate a random game, and you could that would be so sick, actually, to be honest, the more that I'm thinking about it. You just go spectate a random game, and you can just go watch someone randomly uh,
See how they
play a
play, yeah.
game. That's actually kinda cool, but that's not a thing you can do, unfortunately. But that would be pretty cool, to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it. But or at the very least, spectating friends would be cool, specifically for, like, the online tournament scene, making it easier to, stream and kinda broadcast the online tournaments is the main reason that'd be cool to be able to spectate.
Yeah, a spectator mode would be awesome
Definitely
for tournaments and stuff like that.
definitely something that we wish we had for sure. But yeah, it was just cool. Cool to see where it goes for sure. I'm sure there's a lot of potential with it. Um, and we'll just see what people do with it. Like we said, Twin Leaf is kind of the one that everyone's talking about. But we haven't heard from Twin Leaf in a little bit. I'm sure they're still cooking over there. Just maybe taking a little bit longer than they had initially thought. Um, but yeah, we haven't heard about the Twin Leaf in a while. But we got this here now, so there's something to work with right
Yeah.
now for sure.
Yeah, if you're interested, if you're listening to this and kinda interested in more of our thoughts on the Pokemon TCG Sim stuff, go watch our episode with Dan TDM from a few weeks ago. He's the one who's kind of funding the Twin Leaf project. So he gave us a lot of information and insight. We showed some clips of, like, what that simulator will look like. Think, something similar to TCG1, I guess, more similar to TCG1 because it's, like, automated, but, um, doesn't look like you're playing in Microsoft Excel, right?
Hey, TCG1 is automated. How much of it is automated?
It's fully automated.
You mean if you like play a research, it'll discard your hand and draw 7 cards?
Yes.
Wait, actually,
Yes.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, but usually one of the issues with TCG1 is that, like, a set comes out and then it takes them, like, 2 months to update the functionality of the new
Oh,
set.
okay. Which is fair because it's just like a fan made.
Exactly.
But TCG1
Totally
is
fair.
more than just Pokemon, right? Isn't it like other games as well over there?
I don't think
Maybe
so.
I'm
It's
trolling. Maybe I'm
mostly
thinking about something
retro and stuff,
else.
though.
Was there one of the simulators at some point that was wait, really? It's so like if you can like click abilities and stuff on the bench?
Yeah.
Dude, what?
I'm
I didn't
pretty
know
su
this.
I haven't played this in a
See,
minute.
I think it's all I don't think it's automatic at all. I think or
I think
automated.
it is automated, dude. I have played it in the past. I'm pretty sure it is like
I've maybe played it twice, to be honest. I've actually played it very little. I have played it before, but not very often. Um,
it is automated, dude.
you
Look, I'm
sure?
watching this
I pull it up.
base Neo game happening right now.
How can you tell if it's automated or not?
I guess I can't tell if it's automated.
That's what I'm
Played
saying.
computer search. So look, I'm watching this happen out. Raichu Mar played computer search. Gonna search something out. I guess eventually. Okay, shuffle deck. Let's just see how fast things happen. Flip
Yeah,
for
how many
Chaos Gem. There was the flip.
okay.
Heads, play item finder.
Can you see how many games are going on right now? You see that?
How can I go back? Last time I went back, it like backed me out. Exit game. Okay. This. This is it. So we've got an EX block game happening. We've got a base Neo game, a 2021 format team up through CRE. What's that?
Classic
Chilling
right there.
Rain.
It's a classic right there.
That's a classic. 2021. Another one. A bunch of dude. Why is there like a tournament happening for this format or something
Yeah,
right
that's what I was
now?
saying. It seemed like there was a lot. I was like, "Well, yeah, it sounds like there's a lot. Why is there so many?"
Let me look on playlist. Tournaments ongoing. No, there's not. There's just a lot of gamers.
A lot of gamers, I guess. Okay, sure, sure, sure.
See, and this person's looking for a game. So the ones that say join, it's like people looking for games. You have
Okay.
to join it.
Okay, maybe I need to go back
5.5.
and
I
play
don't know
this.
what
I
the
didn't
description 5.5 means. There must be some like,
is that a format?
yeah, maybe it's like including XY 5.5 or something, or Sword and Shield 5.5, something like that.
Why is it are people playing team up to what is
Chilling
CRE?
Rain.
Chilling Rain? Why? There's
There's a
gotta be a
lot of people
tournament going
playing it. There's
on.
got to be,
There's
right?
gotta be a tournament
Some
going on for
Discord
this
server out
format.
there or something
Yeah,
like
for
that.
sure. There's just no way. Alright, hand
Oh,
is
look, this
there's
game just
no
ended. Hang
way
on, hang on, hang on, hang on. We're gonna figure out if it's automated or not.
well, we could just you could just go queue up a game and see
Are
what it's
you
like.
logged in?
No. Do you want me to log in real fast?
Dude, I'd have to make a deck. Like,
Was there an import?
you go to Limitless and find a deck from this format, I guess.
Yeah. So wait, so it's
Oh, look,
current like
okay, okay,
new
here we go.
cards.
Look,
Are new
attach
cards
energy.
automated?
Let's see how fast stuff happens when they click buttons.
Attach a capture energy. Yeah. But now they're going in there and they're clicking search deck, take a
No,
card.
dude, it's automated. I swear, man.
I don't think so. There's just no way.
Okay, okay. Well, things we should have known before we started recording, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I used TCG1 like a couple times way back.
Same,
I don't even know
same.
how long ago I played, but I only played like 2 or 3, maybe 3 games
One of the people
ever
from
on
our
this thing.
area who played competitively for a few years used to exclusively test on TCG1.
I mean, it's a good testing tool, that's for sure,
Yeah.
right? Like it's definitely a good testing tool. I'll give it that. Um outside of that, I'm not too sure, right? That's
Well,
yeah, we'll have to someone in the comment section will tell us for sure, right? What yeah.
I'm pretty
Someone
sure it's automated, but yeah, we'll see.
yeah, someone in
Maybe
the
we'll
comment
test
section
it
will tell
out
us for sure.
after the podcast is done recording.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we'll test it out going into the bonus episode. We'll test it
Into the
out.
boat. Yeah, that's what we'll do in the bonus episode this week is we'll play a game. That could be a weekly segment on the Patreon is like we play a game on TCG1 of like an old format of
Yeah,
2021 team up through Chilling Rain.
yeah.
Oh
Team up
man.
through Chilling Rain, bro. Broken forward. That's I don't know why the obsession with the team up through Chilling Rain is definitely funny though. That's for sure. They're loving that one for some
The
reason.
Shadow Rider format. All
Yeah.
right. Well, speaking of tournaments, while there may be a team up tournament happening on TCG1 right now, there was a current standard format tournament that took place over in Japan. It actually wasn't exactly a current standard format tournament. They
We
do
have a
have a
little bit
few
more than this.
cards that we don't
Yeah.
have
Well, they've had
from.
Moonlight Hill for like 6 months or something,
Yeah,
so
when are
a
we getting
while.
that card? That's a great
It's
question,
gonna
huh?
be in it's gonna be in Paldean Fates. I think it's confirmed.
Okay.
Someone mentioned that in my chat the other day when we were talking about that. I think that's actually kind of ridiculous. Like it actually is like in the past we've been so separated from them. It's like, all right, who really cares? But like, why did we not get Moonlight Hill in Paradox Rift?
Yeah.
Right? Like they've already basically like the game is designed around whatever Japan is playing, right? The formats that Japan plays. And for a long time we were in a separate format where it was like we didn't get to play formats Japan got to play. Like the big one that people talk about is the Buzzwell tag team card. There was a point in Japan where that was like a tier 1 deck, but we never got that point because our set is made up of like 2 of their sets a majority of the time.
Yeah.
But now we're getting to the point where like our major
Because that
sets
that
are
Buzzwell deck was tier 1, but then when it came out here in America, it came out in the exact same set as Reshiram and Charizard Tag Team,
yeah, and we got
which is,
Weldon
like,
too,
also a
right?
very
Like
good card. It happens to be a fire type.
yeah. So, like, that's kind of annoying, right? Especially as, like, people who just wanna play more Pokemon and play different Pokemon in different
Play
ways.
different formats.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty annoying for sure, but, it does seem like we're supposed to be getting closer to, like, synced up with them as far as the format goes, and then it's like, there's this set like, okay, they got Moonlight Hill before we got Paradox Rift. It's like, okay, sure, but it's like, okay, well, give it to us in Paradox Rift then, right? Like, it's supposed to be in the format. You're trying to have us play the same format as Japan, which makes sense because the game is designed around Japan's format. And then it's like, we still haven't gotten Moonlight Hill yet. It's like, why did we not get it in Paradox Rift? That makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of it's actually, it's like kind of annoying, right? Like, especially with like, we're headed towards syncing us up with the same format. Why are we waiting an extra 4 months for this card? Which isn't like, it's not like I don't know, like a a prime catcher, just like how much it's going to shake up the format type card,
Yeah.
but like everyone plays it as a one of in guard for over in Japan. So it's definitely pretty annoying to be
It's
honest.
not
Like
a
actually,
format shattering card, but it's a card that makes a big difference for
yeah,
a specific deck.
it's a
Like,
card. It's a card you play in a tier 1/tier 2 deck, right? Like wherever you kind of place guard for in that, depending on the rest of the meta. So to be honest, I'm kind of annoyed by that we have it's taking this long for us to get the card because we did have a set. If we didn't have like a set where it could have been like if it was like our major set releases, they get Moonlight Hill as a promo a month after, and then we don't get another major set for 2 months. It's like, okay, that like I'm fine with it, but we literally got Paradox Rift after Moonlight Hill was a card. So, but hopefully going forward, like that's not a thing that is a constant factor with like uh cards like that. But we'll see.
so we don't know exactly how many people were at this tournament. I'm gonna assume it
I
was
think it was
like
3K.
3K or something like
Yeah.
that, like in that ballpark. That's pretty much the standard for the Champions Leagues over in
hmm
Japan. Um, and the whole tournament was won by Lost Box, Kyogre Lost Box, Paradox Kyogre Lost Box, kind of similar to like the Tord deck without an evolution Pokemon in it, no Giratina, no Palkia. But yeah, Azul, you watched this whole tournament play out. You streamed it over on Twitch. You watched it live. Did you watch the finals and stuff live? Was
Yep.
that what
Yep.
time was that happening for you?
It ended like 1 a.m. or before 1
Okay,
a.m. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like it's
not too
not
bad
that
at all.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll definitely be like watching more of these or all of these tournaments on my channel moving forward.
So,
Watching them live.
someone who watched the whole thing, like, what are kind of your takeaways from the tournament, like how the format played out, or like I guess just this deck specifically, even?
I mean, one of my main takeaways from watching the tournaments in Japan is best of one sucks. They do play best of one for anyone who doesn't know. They play day one, 9 rounds, best of one, day two, 5 rounds, best of one, tops cut to top 16, best of one throughout all, even to the finals, it's best of one. And it is tough to watch best of one, to be honest. It's definitely way more enjoyable to kind of see how players adjust and change their play. And even kind of you can't really talk about that either. It's like, okay, now they know about this tech card or they know about this card in their opponent's deck. How do they adjust? And like you get to see, like you see, like the true or more RNG of the Pokemon TCG, where it's like, well, one person just drew really well, or more often than not, someone drew really bad, or just kind of dead drew, right? So that's one thing that, of course, always stands out when I watch these tournaments. But the meta was like pretty nothing too crazy. The top cut decks were the crazy decks, to be honest. But I saw a lot of Charizard, a lot of Tina, a lot of Guardy on Charizard, Tina, Guardy, and Miraidon. Daichi was actually on stream for one of the rounds playing the Miraidon, the Peony. It was all Peony Miraidon. There was no Path Miraidon, all Peony, all going fast. So yeah, a lot of the same stuff, but it was really the top cut decks that stood
The
out, to
Daichi
be
on stream
honest.
versus Lugia.
Yeah, yeah.
That one seems like
Um,
it was probably tough for Mr. Lugia over here.
it was not a close game
Yeah.
at all. But I mean, I guess that's one of those moments where you're like kind of happy it's a best of one, just have it be over with.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just have it be over with and kind of go from there. What was I gonna say? I don't know. Yeah, it's one thing. I don't know. I mean, maybe they didn't know it was Lugia. They also streamed like a lot of times they would stream. They have like a main stream setup and like a side setup. So they would show games from the side setup. pretty often. So we saw 2 top 16 matches, 2 top 8 matches, both top 4 matches, and then the finals. And then like in normal rounds, you would see sometimes like we'd be in like round 13 and we'd watch a round 13 match, and then they'd put on a round 12 match from the previous round to kind of fill the void there, which was
Oh, so
nice.
they, like, were recording the match that was happening.
Yeah, yeah.
Got
So
it.
they, like, would put some of the side stage matches on, and sometimes it'd be, like, 2 round 13 matches or whatever as well, but sometimes they would pick from previous rounds, like, there was a round it was, like, after round 14 happened, they pulled up a round 7 match from yesterday, from the day before, so that was, like those are, like, not that exciting because you, like, already know it doesn't matter, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool it's good content, right? More gameplay, more action, stuff like that, but it was definitely the top cut decks that stood out to me overall for sure.
Yeah, and speaking of the top to cut decks, we did see this Kyogre build. Pretty interesting version of Lost Box. Lost Box is like a deck that doesn't really feel like it has an identity right now. People are still there's not like a
Hostile.
centralized one, this is the way to play Lost Box, which is what we've had kind of in past formats. It's like there was like
Yeah.
it's centralized, not maybe just one, but like there was two builds pretty much, right? It's like the Kyogre build or like the Super Turbo build was pretty much what it was in previous formats, but now it's like the Paradox stuff. You could have the other techs in there, like what Torrid has
Tablezard.
been playing. You could have none of the paradox stuff. It could just be like the super effective glasses build, just aggro,
Yeah.
take two prizes every single turn. So there's still a lot of question marks, I think, out there on Lost Box, which
Yeah,
is
I thought there
cool.
was
Which is
I
cool, I think, because there's like so many different things that your opponent could do when you're sitting across from them. It makes you there's a lot for you to try to manage and identify what you need to play around.
yeah, I agree. I thought it was maybe gonna centralize around Sablezard, but after, like, playing someone I just don't think Sablezard's that good, to be honest. I think, like, the Lost Pile builds like this are the way to go for sure. And, they're you don't have to come up with something new to try and be unpredictable every time. I think kinda this, like, Kyogre Hands Moon, uh trio there. I think that's like a pretty good go-to trio to have around for most matchups. I think without the Kyogre, you really suffer into the Miraidon matchup. So I think you kind of want the Kyogre there to kind of shore up that matchup. So yeah, I think that trio is like a pretty good trio to kind of build behind for sure, and then kind of go from there. Because like the Hands in the Moon, and I would say with how popular Charizard is right now, you probably want the Tina. I kind of like the Tina. Another way to kind of more aggressively one hit KO two prizers. And it's something you can kind of I think the thing is, like, you almost want, like, it's something you can start to set up on board to do that, more so than anything. You wanna be able to, like, do it off a board, to be able to bench Moon, bench Tina, but, yeah, this I think this is the go-to way to play Locksbox, I think, right now for sure. Get that trio and kind of figure out what else you want behind that. Also, Ditto was super popular. I actually was gonna mention that as well. In Japan, the Tinas were playing it, the Lost on decks were playing it. They're loving the Ditto. I kinda like the Ditto too. Oh, 5 like, you would play 5 Comfy, I think, if you could in these kind of lost zone decks. So,
And
I
this
mean, Ditto
basically
almost
is
gives
the
you there.
same thing.
Yeah, for the most part. There's like I'd say it's worse than a fifth Comfy probably overall, but
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's definitely not bad. The Ditto's okay.
And then the second place deck was a Turbo Roaring Moon deck
Starts to get
that
wide. Yeah, the finals, the deck that actually won, and I will say this, the player that won definitely played the best out of all the players we watched, which is something cool to see, especially in best of one.
this
It's a little bit
player as
harder.
well, I was looking at some of the results from these players. A lot of them, they had no results, like, at least listed on Limitless. I'm sure they've done well
Yeah,
in, like, city leagues and stuff like that to get to this point. But a lot of them, there was a few that, like, were day 2 at Champions Leagues or, like, the top, 100th, 128, something like that. There was a couple top 8s in there, but the person who won, Haruki, got top 4 at this same tournament last year. So that's
yeah.
pretty cool. Go top 4 last year, and that's their only result on their Limitless page as well. So I wonder if they're like a Kyoto local legend or something like that, showing up, just doing their thing. I think they played a Kyogre deck last year as well, which is kind of cool to see that come back around full circle. But yeah,
Yeah.
playing well, getting to top 4 last year and getting the first place this year.
Yeah, and the stuff starts to get a little bit yeah, the finals, as I said, I think they definitely out of the players that I watch, I think they played the best. And it's Lost Box, Kyogre Hands, Roaring Moon. It's not like a huge surprise anymore after Tor did well with it. Now we're seeing it win. But then it starts to get a little bit more wild. The finalist list, it's Roaring Moon, which isn't like that like Roaring Moon's like known as like it's a known quantity, right? But then you
Right.
look at the list and you're like, okay, Darkrai V Star and 4 cross receiver. And that's where you're like, whoa, what's going on here? But I actually played with this a little bit the other day. And honestly, this is definitely the most fun way I've ever played Roaring Moon, and it was a ton of fun, and it felt pretty good.
Someone got
Or
top
cross-ceiver, not receiver.
cross Seaver, yeah,
Yeah,
cross Seaver.
cross-ceiver.
Yeah, someone got day 2 at San Antonio with a build similar to this. It might have been the guy who did the best with Roaring Moon. He was playing
Cross-ceiver?
against Andrew Hedrick one round, and I remember watching him cross receiver for the Darkrai V and put it on his bench, and Andrew was just like, "What is happening?" It was pretty funny.
Yeah, dude, I literally had that. I had the Pokemon. I didn't know you could get Pokemon with Crossfever,
Yeah,
and until like I like played them, and I was like, wait, I can select Pokemon and supporters out of my discard pile. I was like, this is crazy.
yeah.
And then I had a really cool play with one where I like Crossfever for my Darkrai V Star, and then used Darkrai V Star to get Cross Switchers. Um, so yeah, it actually like just works, and the Crossfevers don't feel like they're super clunky in the deck either. It feels like they provide a good amount of value, and the Darkrai V-Star really helps you push through for those bigger combos, as the game
It
progresses.
was Nathan Porter got top 64,
With the Crossfever.
the 4 cross Seaver. Pretty similar list, honestly, it looks like. Had the Darkrai in here as well.
Yeah, which makes sense when we have this many items. Use so many like, you're trying to pull back the cross switchers or the crossovers because the
Yeah.
crossovers can become a supporter. So the value from Darkrai goes way up for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, Crossfever is definitely like a solid enough card, but like its effect is really good. You get back a supporter, you get back a Pokemon. Like that flexibility to be able to do one of those two things is super, super strong, but you have to play two of them at the same time. So it like makes
Yeah.
sense that it's a card that's never really been played. But I mean, I guess it kind of also makes sense that it would be a deck that would find a place eventually, right?
Yeah, I thought yeah, well, especially once Pokestop. I don't know what came out. Pokestop came out after Crossfever, right? I actually don't
Yes.
even remember.
Yes.
Yeah. So Darkrai, yeah, you got the Pokestop with it. Darkrai V Star, a lot of ways to. Does Darkrai V Star? Yeah, Darkrai V Star only gets items, right? I was like, does it get supporters? I was like, if it got supporters, you probably just wouldn't play Crossfever. Yeah, only gets items. But yeah, but those two involved, like, see so many cards, and then get the combo whatever you want to put together with the Darkrai, which is pretty cool. And like you can like get like there's like the way the deck kind of draws, you don't have to like get back double Crossfever with Darkrai or double Cross Switchers. Like if you Billied early or Ultra Balled away one early, then you get Darkrai for like a Dark Patch and a Crossfever because you have a Crossfever in hand and stuff like that. And it just actually like works so much smoother than I thought it would. And of course, Pokestop helping you accelerate to your items helps with that as well.
And then
So
it makes
yeah,
your Pokestops less painful too, right? Or
yeah,
like your squawk ability is less painful. Like I've had playing Roaring Moon, some of the most frustrating hands. It's like I've got one energy card in the discard pile, but I really want to get two energy in play this turn. So I'm gonna squawk ability away this Sada. And then it's like you draw the sequence of cards, and it's like, I just didn't get another energy down. I'm gonna play Sada for one anyway. Or like, oh, I whiffed the
yeah.
Sada, right? And Cross Seaver can kind of help you with some of those situations. I guess the question as well moving forward from here though would be, is this now going to become the best way to play Roaring Moon? You know, if
Yeah.
is this like if someone wants to play Roaring Moon to a regional championship or even a league cup or something like that, is this a list that they should at least give a shot?
I mean, it felt the best way that I've ever played Roaring Moon so far. So to be honest, I would say yes. I think the Darkrai is the biggest thing almost though. Especially against like the Charizard matchup and stuff, just being able to pull together combos actually with like deal with Charizard. I feel like it's pretty big. And I know like early on when I would talk about Roaring Moon, I was like, you need the water energy. Or at least if you play energy switch, you need to play water energy. And it felt like having the option of Greninja is what made the deck even like considerably viable. But honestly, the power of the crossover plus Darkrai it felt good. It felt like the deck was more consistent and you could kind of consistently pull off those powerful plays turn to turn. Whereas it feels like the other builds of Roaring Moon just kind of fizzle out after like turn three. And don't aren't able to consistently keep up the plays they want to make. So I mean, if I was forced to play Roaring Moon at a tournament, I would definitely be playing the Cross Seaver Darkrai V Star. That's for sure.
Somehow these are not the craziest decks that made top 8. We don't have the list for it, but there was a Golden Go Origin Form Palkia V-Star deck in top 4, and this guy was actually the first seed going
Yeah.
into top 16. They play top 16 cut over there.
And actually, the Palkia is not even the craziest card in the deck, I would say. The Melodic is probably the craziest card. They play a
Yeah.
1/1 Melodic to stop the hand disruption and board disruption from Avery. So yeah, they have the 1/1 Melodic in there. They also played Iridas, so you can more aggressively find stuff like your Greninja, your Palkia pieces, the Melodic pieces. You get that Dugard set up, so that way if you go up against specifically like the Charizard matchup is probably the big one. They can't hit you with those Ionos. They have to go out of the way to KO the Melodic first, but then if they go KO the Melodic, they're on odd prize cards, so they have
Hey,
to take
hey,
another turn to win the game.
I just saw a
Um,
card. You remember me talking to you about this card? I
what
think we talked
card?
about it on the podcast. It was in his prizes. Boom, the letter of
Yeah.
encouragement. Let's get it, bro.
They also play the Letter of Encouragement, maybe 2 of them. It might just be 1, I'm not sure.
Oh, so
Um,
sick.
and it's a Pokestop, super aggressive build, super aggressive build. Yeah, it was a pretty sick build. I'm not just like the Roaring Moon, even though it got second, I'm not really sold on Roaring Moon as a deck overall. Same thing with Golden Go here. It did get into the top 4 here. It's a really cool
Look
build
at
as
this
well.
turn one board
Yeah.
setup. Is this his turn one going first?
Yeah, I definitely recommend
Holy
try if you're
cow.
gonna pick up Golden Go, if you wanna pick up Golden Go or Roaring Moon, I'd say definitely check out these 2 builds. The Golden Go build isn't out there, but it'll make its way out there, I'm sure, eventually. So it'll
Yeah, we
be
don't
on the
have the
list of
exact list, but
Pokestats.
you can watch the stream. You can figure it
You
out.
you could
And
put it together, yeah. It's not that hard. They've got a lot of aggressive stuff. Yeah, I'm sure it's pretty straightforward overall.
did make it all the way to the top four of the tournament as well after being first seed going into cuts. Pretty crazy, pretty crazy. There's also this crazy Zero
Oh,
Aura
yeah.
Flying Pikachu Arceus pile deck going on. I mean, what is happening over there in Japan, Azul?
I don't know, man. Yeah, the Arc Pile heard about people calling Lost Box decks Lost Pile and returned to claim the name with this Zero Aura Flying Pikachu build. I don't even know what Flying Pikachu is good against. I guess Miraidon is like the only thing I could come up
Yeah,
with. But besides that, you got the Zero Aura in there. That has, I mean, Zero is kind of cool, I guess. Yeah, it definitely feels Arc Pile for sure. This feels like an Arc Pile for sure. There's a lot of stuff you have in there that I mean, you can do a lot of things, but there's a lot going on for sure.
yeah. The Zero Aura V Star.
I mean, the Lightning Storm's kind of cool, but you have to not
Yeah,
use Starbirth. Then you have to like, and it's not like you're trying to use Starbirth. Arceus decks actually don't actually want to use Starbirth, but it's just like usually to have a really good turn 2, you use Starbirth. But Arceus decks are never trying to use Starbirth turn 2 because ideally Starbirth is like better the later the game goes.
sure,
If you can end the game with your Starbirth in play to be able to go Starbirth for boss to always win, that's pretty good, right?
dude.
Um,
Why is there a Forest Seal Stone in this deck?
It was relevant in one of their matches. They attached the 4 seal they had 2 Zero Auras on the bench, one with 2 energy, one with 4, and then they attached the 4 seal stone to the Zero Aura with 2, and then the Tina player boss KO'd it, and then next turn or the turn after they won with Zero Aura V-Stars attack with on the Zero Aura with the 4
With the
energy.
four
So,
energy.
I don't know if that was their intent to,
So
like.
so listen though, like you say that that was relevant, but is that not like I don't know. I guess you can't really fault the Tina player for not knowing how to play perfectly against Zero or a V Star, but like looking at that moment,
Yeah, I
if
don't
you
think
lose to
boss KO
Zero
is
or a V Star,
correct.
you KO the thing with 4 energy on it, right?
Well, I think it was like a turn or 2 after. Also, they probably
Okay.
just don't know what Zero Aura V-Star does. So,
Exactly.
I
That's
don't think
true.
they knew they were losing to it. But they also did made some other mistakes earlier on, to be honest. Like, they should have started Requiem to turn that they used Lost Impact and, like, been more aggressive. So, they made some other, like, pretty fundamental mistakes, to be honest. Chasing down the 4 Seal Stone was definitely a lesser of them, not probably knowing what you were up against, but knowing 4 Seal Stone was the only out for your opponent to really do anything on their next turn, possibly,
Sure.
because they hadn't used
Sure. Sure.
Starbirth
Sure.
yet, but they were under Path, so, it wasn't super unreasonable. But yeah, Path Judge, Arceus. Actually, it's kind of surprised to see the 4 Sealstone as well with only 3 Path. I would assume there'd be 4 Path, but there's that. I don't know if they have the Lost City in there for. Maybe probably Roaring Moon and Lost Box. That's like my guess there.
Yeah.
Get rid of that when you can. So it's not
Yeah, that's
sticking
got to be
around.
pretty good to get out of play there.
Yep.
But then other than that, there's a lot of kind of the more normal stuff. I feel like Charizard's a decent split between Bibarel and Pidgeot. It seems like,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah, a
kind of
little bit
interesting
of
because
both.
it feels like over here people have kind of centralized onto the Pidgeot version. It feels like Bibarel has fallen off pretty hard after LAIC
Yeah, I'm pretty sure every Charizard player played TM Devo in their Charizard deck.
in Charizard.
In Charizard. I
I've not
imagine
seen
it's
this yet.
for the mirror match, and it's potentially good against Gardevoir as well. Because if they, like, knock you out with Shiny Arcana, you can go, like, Iono TM Devo, and if any of their Guardies were candied on the bench, you also, like, remove that. There's also
Okay,
maybe, like, a way to, like, play the Guardy matchup with TM Devo where you, like, I don't even know how you evolve to Pidgeot, don't take knockouts, so you don't turn on reversal, and you just, like, punch Guardies, and then TM Devo like 3 things. I could see that actually being like a strategy in the deck where you just like boss a bunch of Guardy stuff and then like TM Devo them all in one turn. Of course, that's probably pretty weak to Cresselia, but if they like, board lock themselves, or I mean, if you have Jirachi on their bench, I guess they're not Cresselia for KOs, so there could be something there as well. But yeah, they all basically every Charizard I saw, I'm pretty sure had a TM Devo in their deck because it's good in Mirror. Is it better than Justified Gloves? I don't know, but it's good in Mirror, that's for sure. Definitely worth having around.
Pretty wild. I mean, that's, a tech that I would have expected. I mean, it's maybe not the craziest to hear that one person would have it, but it's kinda crazy that, like, that's what
All had
everyone was
it.
playing.
Yeah, they all maybe it's the next level tech for the Mirror match where it's like Justified Gloves is good until everyone's playing Justified Gloves, and then the answer is TM Devo.
Man, you guys
There it
just
is again.
weren't quite caught up as well, huh?
Hey, I beat all my Mirror matches with Justified Gloves. I was chilling. I didn't need the TM Devo quite yet,
Yeah,
but
this is a
I don't
Pidgey
know.
build that has 1 Arven in it, by the way.
Well, I mean, we've seen this before. This is what,
Right.
yeah, who was it? Haru, maybe?
I think so.
Yeah, Haru's
Played the 4 Iono.
been playing the 4 Iono, Avery Research, no Arvin, for since LAIC, I think. I don't know if it was Haru at LAIC who played it, but yeah, it's a thing it's not the craziest thing. We've seen it before. And it could be honestly, it could be better than 4 Arvin. I've just never put in time with it, and 4 Arvin feels pretty good, so can't really complain going with 4 Arvin.
And then another name we haven't heard in quite some time,
We probably won't hear of
Argentina.
ever again. This is
Ever
its last stand.
again?
Last actually, I don't know. People were talking about with that new one of the cards we'll look at, the new Iron Verzian card, Iron Leaves.
Mhm.
Um, this deck has always struggled with Charizard, and people have been with tech stuff like Shaman V and Superior V Star. Iron Leaves, though, that could be the tech that this deck has been needing to take down the Charizard.
That has been one of the things that's kind of been awkward for Arceus decks is that all it doesn't get new cards because Arceus only accelerates to Pokemon V. So when new
Yeah,
Ultra Rares come out, they don't really do you much good because you can't build them up on the bench. That's like the
yeah.
strength of Arceus.
It's
But
if
then
really good if
the Iron Leaves, plop it into play, move it to the
yeah.
active, boom, 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 you're taking a knockout.
And, like, if a really good trainer or supporter cards come out, everyone gets them. It's, like, not something that Arceus can maybe
Right.
exclusively take advantage of in a format as well, where it's like Arceus's power in the past was, like, if they flip over an Arceus, it's like, well, there's all these different V Pokemon you can play with it, or it's like when as the meta changes, there's a new best Arceus deck to kind of go to because it can accelerate to this V Pokemon instead of that V Pokemon now, which is better for the meta, stuff like that, so, but yeah, now it's kinda like well, I mean, I was gonna say now you basically only have Tina, but I guess you also have Zero Aura as well and Flying Pikachu. Got the squad?
Can't count them out, can't count them out. Yeah, that card came in like a promo box, or I guess this one's in
Yeah.
oh, did it come in Crown Zenith? Oh, they both did come in Crown Zenith eventually, okay.
Maybe the card is just really good with Generator and no one's played it. Like, can you imagine? Like, because the V-Star power is pretty good. It does cost 4 energy, but to be able to do 60 damage 4 different times, you can, like, set up a lot of plays, uh, like, set up a lot of cleanup plays or set up into some plays after that as well. And the card was never no one, like, played the card with Generator that I've seen, because when the card came out, we only had Flaffy.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
who knows? With Generator, maybe the card is, like, actually decent. Something to investigate maybe.
I have a student who his favorite Pokemon is Zeraora, so I feel confident that next time we have a session, he will be talking to me about this deck.
Already ready to go.
Yes, yes. Um, but yeah, anything else interesting, Azul, from the tournament that you saw in the stream? Obviously, you're just looking at the top 16 decks here, but was there any other stream games that something crazy happened? I see a Serena EX deck was on the stream at some point.
Nothing too crazy. No, I think it was, like, pretty standard.
Chien Pao made an
Um,
appearance.
yeah, nothing too crazy. Nothing too wild. Like I said, a lot of the decks were, like, the Guardy Charizard, Miraidon, Lost Tina were, like, the main and Mew. That was, like, the top 5 decks for sure.
Yeah.
Not even
Do they do a graphic like we do of meta
no, they didn't
share or anything like
not that
that?
I saw. I don't think they had a meta breakdown.
Oh, I don't know if they submit
Um,
deck lists online.
I don't they report their matches online. They report their matches on the phone, so they're ahead of us in one aspect, that's for
Okay.
sure. Um, yeah. That's
Maybe
something
we'll
we
get there
need.
eventually.
And by next season, if we don't have it, I think it's kind of ridiculous to be honest. Like, um,
I saw someone talking. Did we talk about this on the podcast? It might have just been a tweet I saw where someone was talking about the absurd amount of paper that has to go through
yeah,
a regional championship. We didn't. Did we talk about it on the podcast?
No, I don't think
I
so.
have
But
to
it would be a lot of
imagine that,
paper.
like, so much paper gets used because they
There's also
print off
like,
thousands of match slips, right? And they fit, like,
yeah,
what, 3 to 4 match slips per paper, maybe 5, I don't know exactly. Um, they print out the
there's got to
paper
be.
pairings and stuff like that too.
There's also a lot of people like designated to like doing the pairing stuff throughout a tournament. So let's just say you have 120 staff show up to a tournament, and let's just say 20 of them are doing pairing stuff. Printing it out, cutting the sheets, delivering it to tables. Um, that's 20. If you're still gonna have 120 people show up to staff the event, now you have 20 more people to do other stuff. It's gonna make the event run smoother if we
Yeah,
can report on our phones. And then you just have
yeah.
like two people sitting at the hive who would be like people who don't have service or don't have phones. They just go up and like report, or juniors and seniors like who don't have phones, right? You just have two people like you go up to them and you like report who won your match, but then everyone else um, who has phones or has service, then they just report on their phone. I feel like it just has to lead to the tournament running smoother overall to have non-paper pairing. So hopefully we
Did you
get there
see the guy
eventually.
who got a warning in San Antonio, for
Or
his deck list?
no.
In his deck list, so if you don't know, on RK9, when you submit your deck,
Oh
you
yeah,
can,
I
like,
did see
put your
this.
deck name, and he just copy pasted the word mulch, which apparently is some funny TikTok meme between him and his friends.
Mhm.
Uh, just submitted the word mulch on there like 1,000 times or something like that, and then when they printed he got deck checked, and then when they printed his deck check or his deck for deck check, it just printed out mulch, mulch, like 5 pages of just mulch apparently, and he got a warning for that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty ridiculous to get a warning for. Also, why are they printing out the deck list? Don't they have a computer they can look at to see the deck? Like, come on. Like, if not, just buy a computer for the deck check people. Like, they can do that. Like, or a tablet, whatever. They don't like that's ridiculous that they're printing out a deck list for the deck check people when they should just be like, here are the decks, and they just look up the players' names on the tablet or whatever to see the deck list. I mean, the mulch thing is kind of funny. Should they get a warning? Probably not, but it leads to the more
It
absurdity
should
of
be
like,
like a
why are we
warning of
printing
like,
out deck
"Don't do this
lists?
again," but not like a written warning, you
It
know?
should
Like,
just
I
be
think that's reasonable.
it should be a reality check that they're still printing deck lists is what it should be. Like as the fifth page comes out of mulch, they're like, why do we not have a tablet where they can look up the deck lists on to match into the that's what it should be, to be honest. It being a warning is
I
kind of
did see
silly.
some judge friends mention that the paper team at regionals is like the unsung hero of regionals. So if you've ever worked paper at a regional championships, shout outs
See,
to
that's what
you.
I'm
But
saying.
maybe we should be looking for ways to better utilize people's.
Let's remove the paper division. The paper division isn't needed. Like we can come
Not
up.
taken away from the work they do. I'm sure they do great. They're great with the
They do,
paper.
yeah, they're great with the paper, but we
But
just
do
don't
we
need
need
the
them to
paper.
be?
Yeah, do we need the paper? That's actually it's not a question, we have the answer. The answer is no. We just need to, like, do away with the paper. I'm sure we'll get there, but if it's not by next season, I'm gonna be disappointed. If it's before next season, honestly, for TPCI timeline standards, that'd be like a big thumbs up from me, a big, thumbs up. But yeah, I think by next season, we should be expecting to be able to report our matches on our phone for sure.
Well, before we get into the rest of the episode, we do need to take a second to give a shout out and thank you to our sponsor, Dragon Shield. Big thanks to them, of course, for supporting us here at the Uncommon Energy Podcast. Dragon Shield makes some of the best card gaming and tabletop gaming products and accessories on the market, including sleeves, binders, deck boxes, and so much more. We, of course, regularly use them for the sleeves. No tournaments coming up. I guess we've got Portland in just a couple weeks, but yeah, Azul, you got some Dragon Shield stuff lined up already?
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff already in my suitcase, like I mentioned before,
Oh,
but I
yeah,
did
you're already
finish.
locked and ready
We
to go.
we mentioned the advent calendar. We mentioned these before already, but we did get to day 24 yesterday. So
Oh, where's my I think it's back
I
there.
opened up the Santa sleeves in the back of the advent calendar. So shout out to Dragon Shield for sending the advent calendar. Unfortunately, I won't be able to use. I would use them, to be honest. I would use these Santa dragon sleeves. At Portland, but yeah, you can only use blank or official
The
sleeves
art
at
sleeves
the Pokemon
actually
tournament.
feel super nice to, like, shuffle and play with. I don't know if you've ever actually, like, played a full game with them.
I haven't. No, no, I
They're
haven't.
they're actually I've used them for, like, One Piece and Lorcana decks when I've played those games a little bit. They actually do feel really nice. I do wish you could use them for official events, but maybe, you could pick up some of the art sleeves for, uh,
Pro decks.
GLC or, like, locals and stuff like that. They are solid, and there's some cool ones out there.
Yeah, yeah. So shout out to Dragon Shield as always for sponsoring the podcast. check out our referral link in the description if you want to support us, and you can use our code over there, of course, UEPOD to get 5% off.
Yep.
And with that said, moving on to guess that flavor text. It's my turn to pick a card for Chip, read the flavor text, and then have Chip try and guess which Pokemon belongs to that Pokemon card. Um, is there? Did I miss something?
No, no, you're doing great. Which Pokemon belongs to that Pokemon card?
Which?
Yes.
Well, yeah, the Pokemon that belongs to that Pokemon card because the flavor text is on the
There was just a
Pokemon
long
card.
pause between Pokemon and card, and I thought you were literally
Oh yeah,
gonna
I was
say
like
which
trying to.
Pokemon belongs to that Pokemon
Well, yeah, that's no, that's
card.
why I stopped for a second. I had to like make sure I said the card part.
I'm just
Um,
yeah, yeah.
Shout out to Tim and Games for the Google Docs that they put together. I am still down 6 points. To be honest, I was like 10 to 16 is not that bad, but the more I thought about it, I was like, you're up 50% plus on me. So that's not that
I'm
good.
up
When I
at
thought about it in
least 2 weeks
percentages.
on you, yeah.
Yeah. But it can swing around pretty fast if you get like a 4 pointer, which I thought I was gonna spike last week with the Sunfisk, but I was not able
Let's
to.
see, you
Um
have you ever scored more than 1 point?
I actually don't know. That is a decent
You
question.
have scored 2 points back in episode 47.
The ice
You
cube should
scored
have
2
been a
points in
4.
43, so you've done it a couple
I got a
times.
couple twos. Have you gotten a 4 before?
I
See,
think
that's the
so.
only reason. Yeah, you got an DD for 4. It's like the 4 is the only reason that's like what's carrying you right now. It's like a 1
Yeah, I've
4.
given you so many freebies though, dude. One time you picked a Pokemon that had already been
So
read.
anyways, if you guess the card without
Ditto.
using a lifeline, you get 4 points for each lifeline you use. You minus 1 point. The lifelines are what set the card is from, what stage the card is, and then read an attack name. Chip, are you ready for your flavor text this
Yep.
week?
Ready to get farther ahead. Let's get it.
It has a generous habit of sharing its food with people and Pokemon, so it's always scrounging around for more food.
Okay. So yeah, thinking of some like scavenger type Pokemon. This definitely gives off vibes of like some early game, normal type, like a Rattata or a Squavit or
You get so much.
Sentret, something like that.
These, like, thought processes you go down, they're good thought processes, but it's just like there's just people learn so much more about Pokemon from playing the video games than when you don't. Because like, I would never have that thought process, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. Like, that I would like yeah, from,
Well, you just
like, if
don't know anything about Pokemon.
well, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. If you, like, play the video games and stuff, you these,
Yeah,
like,
I
thought
have at
processes
least
you
done
can
that most of the
yeah,
video games, but
I have not.
um, okay, let me hear it again.
Um, it has
How
a
have you
generous
already tabbed out?
habit well, I was going back to our breakdown.
Okay, okay, okay.
It has a generous habit of sharing its food with people and Pokemon. I didn't think it was that complicated. I know you need to hear it again. So
Okay.
it's always scrounging around for more food.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning towards something like Squavit or Sentret, maybe somewhere along those lines. Squavit, though, I think would be more related to berries or something like that. Let me go with what set the card is from.
It is from Chilling Rain.
Okay. And let me hear you read an attack name.
I thought you were gonna ask me to. It has icy snow. I thought you were gonna ask me to read the flavor text again.
Icy Snow. Um, I, ooh. Is it Sneasel? That's an attack that sounds like a Sneasel attack, but I don't feel like Sneasel's much of a sharer of food and stuff like that. The icy snow is getting me there. It could be um Snow Runt, I guess. Snow Runt is an option. I'm definitely thinking this is a basic. I don't ah, I guess it could be an evolved form of one of those potentially. Let me just go ahead and use that last final lifeline. See if I can just get 1 point this week. What stage is the card?
It is a basic.
Okay, well, waste of a point there. Snowrunt, I'm pretty sure there's one in Chilling Rain. Sneasel, I'm pretty sure there's one in Chilling Rain. So it definitely could be either of those, and those both would have icy snow. Um, I'm not 100% sure there would be a Snowrunt actually. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to go with Sneasel. I can't think of anything else. It doesn't really sound like a Sneasel, but just the set and the attack name that's getting me towards this direction. Let's go with the Sneasel. I'll lock it in.
Okay, it is not Sneasel, but I'm
Oh,
gonna
is
just
it
give
Snow?
you. I'm gonna get no, it's not Snow. I'm gonna give you
Okay.
one more lifeline so you can
Okay.
try and guess it. For a just so you can try and guess it. It is the Pokemon is on theme for the current time of year.
Oh, is it
It
Delibird?
is
Oh, the Christmas
Delibird!
episode, dude, it's literally on the front page of PKM Cards. Is this how you chose it?
No, I
It's
looked
literally
up.
the front page of PKM Cards right here.
Oh, it is, yeah. No, I looked up, Delibirds earlier to see if there was one that was hard enough. I was
Oh,
like, I didn't wanna, like, give it away. Um,
yeah, I mean, I think the food part is what got me here. Like Delibird giving away stuff, that makes sense. But like the food, I don't think of Delibird as like a scavenger type Pokemon, you know?
yeah, I guess I never thought about that. I actually didn't know what to think of Delibird, to be honest. It literally puts, presents in its tail, so I'm not sure, you know, what to think about this thing. But
Mm.
apparently there is some obsession with food. There was, like, another flavor text that had to do with food as well when I was reading through them.
Shout
Um,
outs to Lightyear Liam on PKM and Cards who said, "This seems like a good place to wish people a Merry Christmas."
yeah, but I wanted to do because I was like, "It's on theme, but if it's too easy, I'm not gonna pick it." But then these ones in it seemed to be too easy, and obviously it wasn't too easy because you didn't get it. But
Tough, man. I'm
yeah.
disappointed in myself.
I think its second attack was package delivery. I think that would've,
That would have helped me out quite a bit.
yeah, I think that would've I mean, what else who else is delivering packages besides
Yeah.
Delibird is the package delivery Pokemon,
Yeah.
for sure. Alright, but yeah, gonna wrap it up. I have you did not pull any further ahead, so I got next week, I gotta start making up some ground, though, otherwise, I can't give you all these I can't keep letting you or you can't keep not whiffing, and I can't make up ground, so I gotta do something next
Dude.
week for sure. But new cards revealed. These will be coming out in Japan on the 26th of January, and that's actually
And
when
we
their
don't get them
rotation is gonna hit.
forever.
Yeah, and then we don't get them until the end of March, and there will also be another set release in Japan, like a week before ours in March.
No, really?
Yeah, and we'll be getting those cards as well, I believe. Don't quote me that 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. They're getting cards end of January, and then they're also getting cards end of March with us, but we're gonna get those cards immediately. So we'll get these cards that they're going to be getting in January, as well as the cards that they're getting in March. We're not gonna have to wait like another 2 months for those. So this feels like we're a little bit, but this is kind of what we had happen last year with Scarlet and Violet, right? They got all the cool new
Yeah.
cards like 2 months before us. And we had to wait 2 months for our rotation in cards, which kind of sucks. And I'd love to see things get lined up as far as that goes. But for like the idea of what we have as major set releases, I'm still not too mad at the way this is going to pan out for us. Of course, being a little bit more lined up with Japan would be nice, and maybe that's something we see happen in the future. Where I feel like the Moonlight Hill situation is a little bit more of a, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's break down some of these new cards.
Yeah, first up, we do have a brand new game mechanic. Not a brand new game mechanic, a
Returning,
returning game mechanic, and that is the A spec cards. Similar to Radiant Pokemon, if you've not been playing since A specs were last legal, it is just a card that you can only play one of in your deck, and it does look like they can be things besides item cards, and that was kind of a big reveal here. I feel like
yeah.
last time A specs existed, there was literally only items and tool cards were the only things that were A specs,
And tools
and
were
tool cards
items
were
back then.
items as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
So,
tools were
yeah,
items back
cool
then.
that they are energy cards. What do you think of the new artwork? It's, got the pink border, the pink
It's a lot.
background,
It's
and,
like a little bit too
the
loud.
square hollow, it looks like.
I liked the border in the reveal at Worlds. The border by without like the full pink in the middle looked nice. I'm not a huge fan of like the full pink. It's like a little bit too loud for me, but you'll definitely notice if you prize or don't prize your ace spec immediately on your first search. So that's kind
Yeah.
of a prize checking buff for everyone, I guess. We got that going. Yeah, if you prize your ace spec and then are tilted later on in the game that you go to find your ace spec and it's prized, bro, come on. Like,
It's on
yeah,
you.
come on. How'd you not notice this thing wasn't in your deck? Come on.
Well, this thing is definitely not gonna be in anyone's deck, and that is Neo Superior Energy,
Well, we
Special
haven't
Energy A spec.
seen.
Huh?
It is actually kind of funny. You do say that, and like all the new cards that look like they're gonna be good cards are basics as well. I was like, we haven't seen any new stage twos, but then it's like also all the cards they've revealed are basic
Dude,
Pokemon.
but it's
So,
like, what stage 2 deck is ever going to play this card over Prime Catcher, which we're gonna get
well,
to in a second.
this is like so. This kind of card would be like really big for tempo,
Let's
right?
read what the card does first as we're talking about it.
Okay, go ahead.
So, it's a special energy. It When it's attached to a Pokemon, it provides 1 colorless energy, And if it is attached to a stage 2 evolution Pokemon, it provides 2 energy of any type instead. So it's a double rainbow energy with no drawbacks, except it has to be attached to a stage 2 Pokemon to get that full effect.
Yeah, so,
You can
like
only play one in your deck.
yeah, so this could be, like, really big for, like, tempo in a game, though. So imagine this with something like the Aegislash that can't be hit by Vs or EXs. Like, they get through your first Aegislash, you have no energy in play, and you're like, "Okay, next Aegislash," and then whatever this is called, Neo
Sure.
Superior Energy, right? So, like, for tempo for stage 2 decks, I could definitely see playing this over Prime Catcher because, you'd probably overwhelm your opponent to the point where it's like, "They can't gust around me anyways. Who cares if they have Prime Catcher and I don't? If I'm attacking with my stage 2, I'm winning the game." So I could see that, but like I said, we haven't really seen now there is some older stage 2s that I'm sure will benefit from this, but they haven't given us any new stage 2s to potentially work with it. And that's like the maybe the main reason I'm kind of looking at it and being like, okay, maybe we won't get that much value. Or maybe Aegislash is just broken. Who knows? Maybe I've
It's
just
2
literally
extra energy
leaked.
for Gardevoir.
Gardevoir's definitely playing Prime Catcher.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of the Prime Catcher, the other ace spec that was initially revealed, one more did get revealed eventually this over the course of the 2-day tournament. By the way, super jealous that Japan during their live streams gets to just like randomly reveal brand new cards. Why can't we do something like that? Or at least like
we
reveal the official English scans of new cards that are coming out. Like I feel like we should at minimum be able to do that.
I mean, if the card's already revealed, I mean, you'd want to reveal something that hasn't been revealed yet. And our release dates are getting so close. Like I think Jake Gearhart mentioned this in my chat over the weekend when we were kind of discussing this as these were getting revealed. Um, their reveals for like Obsidian Flames were coming out as our pre-releases started. So theoretically, there's no reason that there couldn't be some kind of English reveal of cards, whether that be through an official live stream, something like dude, honestly, how sick would it be if Pokemon invited like I don't know, like Mahone and someone to come out to their offices and play with the new cards 2 weeks before they drop or something,
Yeah,
or
be pretty
like that
sick.
would be insane, right? And it's like that's a time frame when Japan's already revealing all the cards anyway, so it's not like anything's new is being leaked. Um, or like they do in other card games like Hearthstone, and I think Marvel Snap as well, maybe where they have content creators reveal cards before they come out for the first time. You know, if we're revealing cards this close to when Japan reveals cards, would kind of make sense that you'd be able to you'd want to lean on the English audience a little bit more, or like you know the English content creators, or even like some kind of official English live stream to reveal cards as well, not just have it just be fully Japan. But I think one of the reasons, I mean, it is probably in TPC's hands, right? And maybe they just want to be the ones who are
Yeah.
constantly revealing
Well,
stuff.
probably it's more like there I'm sure there are people at TPCI who think that something like that would be awesome and a good thing for
Oh
the
yeah,
game.
for
There's
sure.
definitely people who think that, but it's like they some of the people who think that might not be the people who ultimately make the decisions on those things.
Yeah,
And then the people who make decisions on those things have to get on board with it and then make the decision. And then their decision isn't to actually do the thing, it's to bring it to TPC and say, "Hey, can we do this?" You
yeah.
know? So,
It's
it's
like
just a whole
it's
with the international setup of the company, it just becomes very difficult for stuff like that, I think, to happen. Like, it can happen eventually, it takes a long
takes a
time
long
to go
time.
through all those steps.
I mean, we finally got drops on Twitch, so that's kinda cool, like, we finally got they're in the wrong category, but we do have them. Yeah, things take a while for sure, but moving in the right direction. Hopefully, that's something that happens eventually. I think it's, like, one of those things that just should happen, right? It just feels like there's no reason to not have it exist. It just creates more hype around the game and the new set release and all that stuff. But, yeah, Prime Catcher, pretty broken. I don't even think we said what the card does.
Nope.
For anyone who's played Guzma in the past, this is literally a reprint of a Guzma on a forced one of item card as an ace spec. Switches one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active, and then puts one of your bench Pokemon into your active. So that's what Guzma used to do as a supporter card, which was even though Guzma was broken and probably shouldn't have existed, Guzma probably should have just been Lysander or Boss. I think Guzma was definitely way too good, and I think as Boss or Lysander, it would have been balanced. Now we're getting it in item form, but it is only a one of. But this is so powerful, and we still have boss in the format as well to kind of supplement your gusting needs throughout a game. That this is going to be insanely powerful. Being able to combo this with Iono or research, or use something like Arvin after getting
Yeah.
Iono to just go get a gust effect is going to be pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, with the way decks have changed, the way they're being built right now, a lot of people playing Arvins and, Iridas and stuff like that
Yep.
just make something like this existing makes those decks better, to be
Hmm.
honest.
A
Um,
lot better. Like you have plus 4 outs to a gust effect. Like
yeah.
That's insane. They're like setup cards and they're like the utility of the card goes up later in the game as well. Um, and people are kind of talking about like the potential of this kind of making the way the game feels less fun because of how powerful this card is, which means the the factors for deciding a game in the Pokemon TCG will be warped around when people find this card, if people prize this card, or if people draw this card off Iono, right? Which I could definitely see. I think the biggest thing is we just have to wait and see what the other ace specs do. And this one might be just feel kind of overwhelming for the first set release of ace specs. But as the next couple sets come out after that, if we have ace specs on similar or close to its power level, it won't be played in
What
everything,
could
which
they
is what I'm
even do
hoping.
though
I
that
don't
gets to this
know.
power level, man?
Maybe like a item
Heal all
card.
damage from all of your Pokemon in play with no drawback,
Yeah.
something like that.
Max potion would be pretty good. If like a max potion ace spec would be pretty good. There definitely could be some things for sure. I mean, they're gonna have to give it to us, and we'll have to be the judges, and we'll have to let the testing and performance of those cards kind of dictate what is the best. It's gonna be hard to beat this. I know it's gonna be hard to beat it. And I already know people like I didn't realize that people felt this way. I never thought about this myself, but people seem to like have not liked computer search and dowsing machine because of how popular they were. Honestly, thinking back on it myself, I wouldn't have minded if you had just gotten rid of computer search and dowsing machine. You probably would have also have to gotten rid of life dew because that would have been just way too powerful, neutrally
Well, there
without
were
those
answers
probably.
to life too,
I
though.
guess we
There
did
was
have two of yeah. So stuff like gold potion and scramble switch being ace specs would have been kind of cooler to be honest, thinking about it back in the day. Like
I
those
think
being your ace
it's
specs.
cool when there's multiple like, for these, like, one of mechanics that have existed. If I think in theory, it would be cool if there was multiple that you could make an argument for any deck, you know?
Yeah, so if you like looked at the top, let's say 4 decks in the meta, like 2 tier 1, 2 tier 2 decks, and they all play a different ace spec or something like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Or
people are
even if it was a situation of, like, multiple Charizard players were playing different ace
different ace
specs, you
specs for
know?
different reasons. Yeah, yeah, that'd be
Yes.
cool. Like maybe one is neutrally the best, but one text for the mirror.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and like have that actually be like warranted to actually include a different
And
one.
then back to your computer search comments, it's like, I think people just got annoyed with the fact that it's like when you were deck building, it was just like one computer search. It just like you were deck building for one less card effectively.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna start I'm gonna start writing out a deck list. What is the deck? I don't know yet, but one computer search.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just building 59 card decks back in the day. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it definitely is like annoying or trying because you want to play the scramble switches and the gold potions, but it's like it's like you don't want to hurt your win percentage by playing those and not including the dowsing machine or the computer search, right? Which yeah, that can definitely feel a little draining after doing it for so long. And that's definitely the way it kind of felt for sure. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Like this first set, we've already seen 3 ace specs. That's actually one thing I want to kind of look up is like how many ace specs, how long did it take for us to get? I think we got 13 ace specs total. Um, Re these ones, like the older iteration of them. I think we got 13 total. And as a how long did it take us to get all those? Was it over 4 sets? I think it was. And then how many did we get in the first set as well?
Boundaries Crossed had 4, Plasma Storm had 3, Plasma Freeze had 2, and Plasma Blast had 4.
So how many is that total? Did I just do that? Did I count it right
13.
though? Yeah, 13.
You're a
I got it right.
genius.
Yeah, 13, 13. So we'll probably get something similar, right? It'll be over 4 sets. We'll probably start with 4, so we'll probably be one more coming out in this set. The Master Ball is the third one, and we'll take a look at that and meme on it a little bit later. But it'll probably be one more. Hopefully, it's actually like a powerful one because it does feel like the Master Ball and the Neo Energy one are not that great overall.
Well,
But then
Master
yeah,
Ball's I don't know. It's I guess Master Ball's just not that good in a format that has Ultra Ball in it, right?
I think it's not that good in a format that has Prime
Just
Catcher in it. Because I think if Primer Catcher wasn't
yeah,
that
sure,
good,
sure,
then
sure.
you could look at Master Ball and be like, okay, we're losing some Pokemon search with this. We're losing Level Ball, stuff like that. Like Master Ball could be looked at and be like, okay, I actually don't hate the idea of playing Master Ball. But when there's something as powerful as Prime Catcher, it's like, well, I don't think I can. This is. I don't think I can warrant this. Like it's like I'm just gonna be losing so many games because I got a Master Ball instead of a Prime Catcher. But we can move on and take a look at the
Yep.
rest of the cards after our
We've
Prime
got
Catcher talk.
a few more ancient and future Pokemon, and so I think something to keep in mind as we're going through these to like just think about is the already existing uh support that these cards have access to, right? Like that's an important thing to keep in mind when you're like
Yeah.
reacting and thinking about these new cards. So
The big card for the ancients is definitely be we have Sada, right?
yeah,
It's
Sada
a
is like just in theory one of the like craziest supporters ever. It just like what you're accelerating to makes a big difference. And this could be something here. We've got the Gouging Fire EX for a fire colorless that has Heat Blast, and then for 2 fire and 1 colorless, Exploding Flare, 260 damage. This Pokemon can't use Exploding Flare again until it leaves the active spot. So kind of interesting there effect with the
Yeah.
attack. I think there has been stuff in the past that has had this, nothing like playable competitive or anything like that. But yeah, not usually you would see this be like this can't use this attack next turn, this can't attack next turn. But no, it literally until it leaves the active spot cannot attack. And
Yeah.
again, and then yeah, in theory, you've got Sada, you've got the Magma Basin. I don't know. This card can do a lot of damage pretty fast.
Yeah. So you got the Sada, got the Magma Basin. The tool card gives us a 290 HP. 260 is it's a lot of damage. It is like not quite KOing V stars and stuff, but you do have you're an ancient, so you can play Brute Bonnet. You can play Sneasler, so we're looking at 290 there. You can play the
That's a
Baby
lot of stuff on your
Moltres.
bench.
Yeah, you can play the Baby Moltres that increases your fire damage by plus 10. You can play it with Skeledirge. Maybe this is where Skeledirge finds a home. Discard one fire
Okay.
from your hand, plus 60. That's 320.
I don't know about that one, buddy.
But yeah, there's ways to like get the damage up there a little bit, which I think it does need a little. 260 is like good initially, but against some decks, the later the game goes, you're not. That's not going to be enough, right? So I think you'll need some kind of damage modification or other attackers in here. Also, the Rapidash, right? The Rapidash could be maybe the stage one discard a fire. Your
Yep.
fire Pokemon do plus 30, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, the wording on the card is interesting for sure. I first when I read it, I just thought it was like translated differently, but you'd still be able to attack with it on turn 3, right? Like, you
Right.
attack with
Right.
it turn 1, you don't move it turn 2, they don't KO it, you pass, and then on turn 3, you'd be able to attack with it, but actually, you just can't. It just literally has to leave the active spot to be able to attack again, which actually is just different than not be able to attack next turn. It is, like,
Yes.
worse. So it's, like, actually and it seems like it is kind of just, like, meant to be a nerf to the card. Like, it's like a way to word it in a way where it's worse than you can't attack on your next turn, right?
It might be
Um
too good if it
If
could
it
just
could
do it.
just
Yeah,
take a
because, like,
turn
think
off and
about it, you
attack
go
again.
2nd, turn 1, 260 with a tool on it, you have 290
Yeah.
HP, your opponent doesn't KO you,
And they can
or,
do
like, they're
that.
still setting up, you
Yeah.
pass, they don't do anything again, boom, you just take another 260,
Yeah.
it might just be too good.
So I like to see that because it's adding more depth to, like, the available I don't know,
Yeah.
what did you even call it? The available ways that they're strategizing cards, which is, like it's good to see that. I think that's healthy for the game to see them, like, adding, like, another layer to, like, how they potentially manage attacks, power levels. So, cool for sure.
Next, we have Walking Wake EX. It's got the Cerulean Pulse ability. Damage from this Pokemon's attacks is not affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. Usually, we see that as like the effect of an attack. So, kind of cool that it's an
Yeah.
ability.
Shred on an ability is interesting for sure.
And then for a water and 2 colorless, it has Catharsis Roar, 120 damage. And if your opponent's active Pokemon is affected by any special conditions, this attack does 120 more damage. It's
See,
a basic water type, 220 HP with 1 retreat.
everyone was trying to play Brute Bonnet and Roaring Moon, but we had to wait for the Entei and Suicune Ancients to these are the Brute Bonnet Pokemon because yeah, you need to get your opponent affected by a special condition. You're an ancient Pokemon, you're playing the ancient tool probably, put an ancient tool on the brute, and then they're poisoned, and now you're doing 250 effectively. But your attack also works with double turbo energy. So wait, does double turbo rotate? It doesn't, right? I don't think so.
It does
Um,
not, I
so I
believe.
think we're looking at like Sada double turbo here. You Sada the water, attach the double turbo. I think of this card more as like a tech card though. Like you could include Suicune in your Entei deck with a couple waters or something. I don't think you'd actually rock this like a quad walking wake deck. I think we
It's a
were
little too
playing this
much
as
of
like
a
a tech.
combo, right?
Yeah, because the shred effect on it, like it having the shred effect is like really good. So like you can just include it in any ancient deck with a couple waters to be able to take advantage of the shred ability there. Which it is really interesting that its ability has the shred. Maybe they just didn't want to make the attack too wordy, and they were like, let's just give it an ability that has shred, or maybe they want to like give it two things because it would be like weird if it just
Yeah,
had
or
one
like a
attack.
way to answer this, right? Because you can turn off an
Yeah,
ability, right? I don't know.
I
It's just
guess that could be it as
interesting.
well. Yeah, put down path plus put your Mimikyu in the active.
And then I think the most interesting one here is the
Oh,
Raging Bolt EX. It's got 240 HP. It's a dragon type basic Pokemon.
it's the last time we got
And
dragons.
we've seen this before, Azul. It's got a colorless attack, bursting roar. When I read the attack name, I thought for sure it was going to have to do with discarding the top few cards of your deck and then attaching energy cards to
I think
yourself.
that's just Rayquaza, to be fair. I think it's just Rayquaza.
No, Yeah, oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, multiple
Rayquaza,
times.
but Rayquaza.
Always Rayquaza, isn't
Yeah, there's
it?
multiple Rayquazas that have done it though, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then, it's Bursting Roar for a colorless, discard your hand, draw 6 cards. Honestly, not a terrible attack for something like this, a lot of HP. And then for a Lightning and a Fighting Energy, Extreme Ascent.
Okay, I take it
70
back.
times.
There's also a Regidrago draw. The Regidrago V also does that with Celestial Roar.
Dab.
But
Alright. Extreme Ascent 70 times. You may discard any amount of basic energy attached to your Pokemon in play. This attack does 70 damage for each card you discarded in this way.
yeah, it definitely seems like it has potential. But cards like this always seem like they have potential. Rayquaza VMAX, Reshiram, Rayquaza EX did have the potential, and was able to make it
The
work.
difference maker here is that it can discard from anything in play.
That is true.
And
Anything in
you also
play.
don't have to discard all of one type as well. That
That
was
is
the thing
also
with
true.
Rayquaza, you had to discard all your fires or all your lightnings.
And Reshiram was also what? That was the same thing for Reshiram, I think, as
Yes,
well.
well, Reshiram only from the bench. So Reshiram was dude, looking back at that card, how did we ever think that card was gonna be good, man? It
I don't
it
know.
needed 2 energy on the active, and then you needed 3 energy on your bench
But
all at
only
once.
discarded from the bench? Are you sure?
Yes, it had to be discarded from your bench, you could not discard from your active.
Well, hang on,
Like,
I'm gonna read it.
how
I
did
don't
we
remember
think this
that
card
part
was
of
gonna
it.
be good?
Oh yeah. Jeez. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, that card was bad. Uh, yeah, I got nothing to be honest. It was pretty bad. Yeah, this was the Raging Bolt though. The Raikou with the long neck has got some potential for sure. I think there's definitely some potential here. But we say this about every card like this, and they usually end up being pretty mediocre.
Dude, nah, man,
Um,
this is the one.
this is the one. But it's definitely, yeah, we'll see. You got Sada. We do lose Flaffy, which could have been a interesting inclusion, but we have Generator still. Generator only goes to Lightning Pokemon, but you could play some Lightning Pokemon in there. Iron Hands. Um, so yeah, I mean, yeah, I could see it. There's also like you could theoretically play this with like a Lost Zone engine as well. Like, but then you don't have
Bro,
Sada, like you're not using Sada early, so that feels
we
like a
got this
weird.
fella.
What do we got?
We got
Oh
the
yeah, and you have
Shocks.
Sandy Shocks. Sandy Shocks with the magnetic absorption. Once your opponent has knocked out your first Raging Bolt, Sandy's coming in to accelerate some energy into play for free. Take
That's pretty
advantage of that
good.
as well. Yeah. Yeah. So it's lining up for they definitely expect this card to be good, I think, but we'll see how good it actually is. I'm pretty sure they thought Reshiram would be good as well. And we're going to the next card.
And that next card is the Iron Virizion that Azul was mentioning earlier. Iron Leaves EX. It's a basic 220 HP grass type Pokemon, 1 retreat cost, and it has an ability. Once during your turn, when you play this card from your hand onto your bench, you may switch it with your active Pokemon. If you do, you may move energy from your other Pokemon to this Pokemon in any way that you like. And then its attack for 2 grass and a colorless, 180 damage, Prismatic Edge, and then it can't attack during your next turn. Of course, also a future Pokemon.
Yeah, yeah. So this could be everyone saw this and they were like, "Oh my gosh, the Charizard. We have so many things that are a grass Pokemon that KOs Charizard. We don't need you take theoretically don't need more. The special thing about this one though is that it doesn't have to be set up preemptively to like
Yeah,
deal with Charizard. Like you can have grass energy in play or energy in general. You need at least one grass. Pull them to the Virizion or Iron Leaves, and then you maybe attach Return Still or whatever. So that it is like maybe a more efficient Charizard answer, but it's not like we don't have grass Pokemon that can currently win a KO Charizard that people are currently just choosing not to play, right? Because Charizard
well,
doesn't
all
mind the
the other
kind of
ones are
2 hit
like
for 2 hit.
impossible to make work. This one you can make work.
I don't know, like the Radiant the Superior V-Star, like, I don't think is that bad. I mean, it's 2 cards compared to 1, but it also doesn't get 1 hit KO'd immediately if it
There
draws a
is the
prize
Shaman
card.
V as well that does exist.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, I don't think this is like it's not like Charizard's dead because of this, because you can't play it in anything. You need 2 grass energy on this thing, and after you use one of these to KO a Charizard, if it's not winning you the game, Charizard's just gonna swing back and knock you out. So you
Yeah.
you better have, like, another 2 grass energy in play for another one, or you're just gonna lose anyway, so this isn't like the Charizard killer that people are kinda making it out to be, it feels like, but it's a solid Charizard answer.
This is another one that's pretty interesting. It's the Iron Crown EX, a 220 HP psychic type future Pokemon with 2 retreat. It's got the ability Cobalt Commander. Your future Pokemon's attacks, excluding Iron Crown EX, deal 20 more damage to your opponent's active. And then its attack, Psychic 2 colorless Twin Sholets, Shoutels, Twin Shottles. I don't know what that word is.
This attack does 50 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Ignore weakness, resistance, or any effects on the defending Pokemon. Now, this is worded interesting. Defending Pokemon usually refers to the active Pokemon, but I believe this actually just refers to the Pokemon it is attacking.
Okay, so
So you can
maybe
go you can go through bench barrier. Is my understanding of
yeah,
how
yeah,
this
yeah,
Pokemon's attack works.
that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So defending Pokemon is usually referring to the active, but I think that's usually just because the attack is hitting the active Pokemon when it's saying defending Pokemon. But defending Pokemon is theoretically any Pokemon you're
I
attacking.
bet the translation when
Um,
we get it in English won't
will
say,
be
like,
different.
exactly this
Yeah,
wording.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
might be different for sure. So theoretically, so you can attack with this and put 50 damage on a Manaphy or other thing like Pidgeot's got 50 HP. So even if they have Manaphy and bench, what Manaphy is protecting, it is an effect on that Pokemon, right? So you would get through it theoretically like that if it ignored effects.
Yes, yes, it would hit through
Okay.
Manaphy, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So yeah, combo this with Iron Valiant. So you can KO with 70 HP basics. Combo this with Halucha to KO 60 HP basics.
Then your Iron
Pro-
Valiant's doing more damage as well, you know?
yeah. And the problem with this, the problem with this is how are we getting a psychic and two colorless on this? That's right. It's Zatu's time, baby. This
I
is
was
it.
already thinking Xatu as
Yeah,
well.
honestly, I don't think Zatu's good enough to make this good though. There's a lot of people speculating that's going to be some form of future energy acceleration or like double future energy or something. Because like the Virizion, this card, especially with this card's ability, kind of leads to the idea that they want that there's going to be a future box, right? Because the ability just boosts your other future Pokemon's damage, right? The Cobalt Commander doesn't boost other Iron Crowns. So with that in mind, with how hard it is to attack with these future Pokemon because their energy costs are so high, and there's no way to get this energy in play for them, they don't have their own Sada to work with. I think it definitely is kind of like spelling out there will be some kind of future energy acceleration or like double future energy could be a thing as
Yeah, I
well.
think
Just
it's more
something.
likely that it would be an energy card, to be honest. I think that they want to and they should want to make the 2
Core
things
machine.
feel different, right? It would be kinda silly if
Yeah.
it's like, there's future, but then it has its own acceleration, and then there's ancient, and it has its own acceleration. It's like, why are we even making them different at that point, right? Like, why not
Yeah,
just
sure,
make the
sure.
cards the same? And I think, like, they did a good job with that through the single strike and rapid strike, right? There's a pretty distinct difference between most of those, right?
Yeah, yeah. It'd be cool to see that a little bit more with these. But yeah, I think because once you get to this next Pokemon, you'll see like how weak the future Pokemon kind of seem to be compared to the ancients with the current array of future cards. And especially when we look at the whatever Cobalt Commander, it seems like you want to be using other future Pokemon with this card. But yeah, the next one is the what is it called? Boulder, Iron Boulder. I did
Yeah.
get it right, Iron Boulder. Fighting colorless for 60 damage, and then if it takes any damage on your opponent's next turn, they take 8 damage counters. And then for fighting colorless, you do 200 damage and then you discard 2 energy. This thing is so bad with the current card pool we have, like awful card. Like 200 damage for 3 energy to discard 2 of your own energy. Like this thing probably isn't even beating Maridon and its fighting type. Like embarrassing. Em-
Yeah, this card seems pretty tough, honestly, like, to make work. It does not seem very good, but you never know. Future support,
oh, we
something like
know.
that,
We
but
know.
honestly,
Maybe
if
a
it's
Lost
a
Zone
future
build.
double energy, you're only discarding one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if we have some form of future energy acceleration, I could see it cooking, but currently it's just getting cooked.
We've got a Flutter Mane
Here it
here.
is. Do people thought Fluttermane? Well, I think we will still get a Fluttermane EX. But because of how broken Fluttermane is in the video game, I think we've all been kind of waiting for Fluttermane to enter the TCG
Yeah.
uh warily because we didn't want it to be like broken the way it is. And I don't know if they dislike how good Fluttermane is in the VGC or not. I've never asked a VGC player that. Like,
Pretty
is
much
that
everyone
like
hates whatever the best is, always, right? Like,
well, Fluttermane's like like it's like 40% or like it's like ridiculous, right? Like
yeah.
it's maybe high some of the highest numbers of a Pokemon of all time in the VGC is like my understanding. So but actually, to be honest, I just didn't know if like the VG, like if people dislike that or were like fine with it. So I don't really have an understanding of that. But we finally got a Fluttermane here in the TCG. But yeah, this one's not going to be really game breaking.
Yeah, it's got the ability. It's a 90 HP basic psychic Pokemon. It is an ancient Pokemon as well. It's got the ability Fluttering Disc. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent's
Dusk.
active Pokemon has no abilities except for Fluttering Disc. And then for 3 colorless, Flying Curse, 90 damage, and then put 2 damage counters on your opponent's benched Pokemon in any way that you like.
Wait, were you saying Dusk or Disc?
Dusk.
You said Disc, did you not?
Maybe I did. I've been playing the
Okay.
Indigo Disc DLC for Scarlet and Violet, so that
It was
could
like
be
a
it.
that was like an ad transition right there or something. Um,
No.
yeah, this card is this card is definitely interesting. The big thing with this one compared to like Klefki, is Klefki shuts off all basics abilities, whereas Fluttermane shuts off all abilities of your opponents, but only their active. And actually both cards get a lot better because we lose Escape Rope. Escape Rope currently rotates. I've heard this way too many times. Is Escape Rope gonna is Escape Rope gonna get a reprint in the new set? They're gonna reprint Escape Rope. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. As of right now, we don't see it, so we're assuming there's no. But there is still stuff like Iron Bundle. But there's like the Iron Valiants and the Lost Zone decks. They played for Escape Rope, right? So they could naturally kind of deal with a card like this or with Klefki. But as soon as Escape Rope leaves, these are going to be much better answers to slowing down Iron Valiant decks and Lost Zone decks for sure. And the question will just be: should you play the Fluttermane or the Klefki? Like I said, Klefki shuts down your side, but also shuts down a little bit more of their side in the early game. Stops Squawkabilly and Luminion stuff like that. Wait, does Luminion rotate?
No.
Okay.
Same set as, Arceus V-Star.
Squawkabilly and Luminion, but you could do like cool stuff in the late game with Fluttermane. Like you could boss up a Guard EX and then put Fluttermane in the active and start attacking with it, and then they can't accelerate energy from their discard pile to the Guard EX to retreat it. So they'll have their ups and downs, but both get a lot better with Escape Rope, leaving the format.
Yeah, I mean, I can see this being
Mhm.
solid in some like as a one prize option in, some ancient deck, especially if like we go to the box type decks in the future. Like right now, Roaring Moon decks are playing their Morpeko. This could maybe make its way into those decks. Morpeko is pretty good in the Roaring Moon deck, so I don't
It's
know if you'd
pretty good.
replace that, but I could see it, fitting that type of card slot in a deck similarly to
We have a better option than that, but we'll get to that in just a second.
that. We've got the Iron Thorns
The
here, a
best future
future.
This is actually the best future Pokemon that they've revealed, to be honest.
Had you ever
Like
seen this Pokemon before?
no, I wanna actually say maybe I had. I think I maybe went and looked them all up one day, but it's pretty cool looking. It looks like, Mechagodzilla, T-Tar.
It's got those vibes for sure.
Yeah.
For Lightning and Colorless, it has Desto Press. 70 times reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. This attack does 70 damage for each future card you find there. Discard the future cards you revealed in this way and shuffle the other cards back into your deck. And then Megaton Lariat for 3 lightning and 1 colorless, 140 damage.
Not using that. That's too much. But yeah, we got Generator. We're getting the Cobalion to boost some damage, sit on the bench, or get discarded for 70 more damage. We have a Generator. The only future cards we can really aggressively recover is Pokemon, but we have Super On. So you discard some Pokemon, shuffle them back. That's what the Iron Boulder is good for, is getting discarded by the Iron Thorns and then getting
The
shuffled
question
back in the
is,
deck.
all right, here's a question though. Is Iron Crown in this deck more valuable in your deck or on your bench? Because if it's on your bench, it's plus 20 damage. But if it's in your deck, it's plus 70 damage.
Yeah, but if we get 2 attacks off, it's plus 40, right? I feel like it's better off well,
Yeah. And
we
then
could probably
also
do the
one of
math.
them is plus 70.
Yeah, 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 that's true, that's true. To be honest, I don't know. And also then we don't have a two-prizer in play. So maybe we just have, like, 4 B barrels on our bench drawing cards, making sure we're moving stuff along. This actually
I
honestly,
think
this
it's mega cope to think that this is like actually good, but it definitely seems
I think
cool.
I don't think it's good, but I think it might be the best future card revealed so
Yeah,
far.
yeah,
I'm gonna have more fun with this
Iron
card than
Hands
any of the
EX
than I'm gonna
or
have more
something
fun
like
with this
that.
card than any of the other cards when the set
Yeah.
releases for sure.
Definitely better than Iron Hands EX, I would say, for sure.
Oh, in this no, revealed in this
Oh, okay,
here.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
We'll let you
Honestly,
slide this
moving
time. All right.
f
Explorer's Foray. It's a supporter, ancient classification. Look at the top
reprint.
6 cards of your deck. Put 2 of those cards in your hand and discard the rest. This is one we have seen before.
Yep, Hapu did literally this exact same thing, and before Hapu, we had Sage's Training, black and white card, so it was a little bit of a gap between and we've had a gap, also between Hapu and here, but Sage's Training was, look at the top 5, take 2, discard 3. And Hapu wasn't good. I thought Sage's Training was bad, but a lot of people played it in their Rush Explosions,
There was stuff
also.
that played Hapu at some point. It was never
Yeah,
that
yeah,
good
but
though, yeah.
no, it was not a very good supporter. It was kinda like a sheesh, I don't even know what kind of supporter it was like, to be honest. It wasn't very good though. And this one also not great, but like, yeah, there could be like 1 or 2 meta decks that pop up here or there,
Yeah.
or maybe it's included as like a one of in a more aggressive deck. So it's like for research, 2 or 3 explorers because you're just always wanting to go ham. So, I could see that. But yeah, it's not gonna be, a go-to staple supporter for sure. Some decks with, like, some unique situations that pop up might include it for sure. And then,
We got another A spec here, a true reprint, and that is Master Ball. Search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck.
honestly, I usually play the new cards, but because of how ugly the new ace specs are, I might actually go back and find my old Master Ball and play because I do own one. I do own a Master Ball. I own one
You
of each
better
of the
go
ace
dig it
specs.
out because they got bought out on TCG Player basically
I
instantly.
don't know why. No one's gonna play Master Ball in anything.
Yeah.
That's, I mean,
Master Ball's up
interesting
about
buyout.
40 bucks is the cheapest one on TCG Player.
It's an interesting buyout. I guess, like, the only thing I could see it being reasonable to buy out for would be, well, you're still hoping people end up playing it, right? Because it would be like, even if
Yeah.
you're like looking at it for like a retro from a retro deck standpoint of like when this A spec rotates, you're still hoping that it gets played at some point. So this just feels like a weird buyout to me because the
So,
card is
yeah,
not good.
you can see the card got revealed December 23rd, like, late at night. Or
Yeah.
no, it was the 24th, maybe late at night. I don't know, one of those
Yeah,
2.
yeah, yeah.
And then it's like the sales before that, it was, like, a couple on the 17th, couple on the
Honestly, that's
21st.
way too many Master Balls being bought before it got revealed. That's like
Well, I
every
mean,
other day.
people, use them for other things like, cubes and old decks and stuff like that. I mean, it's not really
Firewood,
getting into old
kindling.
decks, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but then you look at this and it's just like boom, 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 boom. They're all gone. It's like kind of crazy to look at, to be honest. Basically,
Yeah.
every single one of them that was under $20 got bought. And only one since then has sold for more than that, by the way. One person bought one for 50.
This felt like one of those things where it's like, someone tells you like you see people around you, like your friends get into like stock trading or flipping Pokemon cards, and then you see Master Ball gets
Master Ball's hot
revealed.
right now. You got to
Yeah,
get in.
you
Got to get
just go,
in.
and this is your first like big flip. You feel like, oh my gosh, I saw the Master Ball reveal. I'm gonna go buy Master Balls. My friend like flipped some other card and made hundreds of dollars. I'm gonna go buy a bunch of Master Balls. Yeah, it feels like that, to be honest. Like the people who are just trying to get their come up. I don't think Master Ball is the come up that some people are hoping for, though, for sure.
And then, yeah, I mean, speaking of playability as well, it definitely, of the three, I think is least likely to be used.
Off the rip, yeah. Well, honestly, if like for some reason you're not playing, well, I think we're gonna get a fourth one, right? That's my current guess. If they're bringing back the Apex, they'll give us a fourth one. Maybe they won't. Um, if you're not playing Prime Catcher, you're probably playing Master Ball, to be
How
honest.
many
Actually,
radiants did we get right off the rip? That's what I would compare these
we got a
to.
lot of Radiance overall. There's a lot of them.
Yeah,
I guess, like, another thing people are like, when people are looking at the Prime Catcher, people are a little bit burnt out of Greninja as
we got
well, where it's
16
like,
radiants. It's not as many as you think.
yeah, people are a little bit burnt out of Greninja as well. It's like, they gave us all these Radiant Pokemon, and it's like, Greninja is just so much better than
Hey,
all
look,
the other ones besides Radiant Charizard, and that's only if you play Fire Energy,
first set with
maybe.
radiants, 1, 2, 3 radiants. First, next set with radiants, 1, 2, 3. Next set with radiants, 1, 2, 3. Next set with
Okay,
radiants, 1, 2, 3.
the next set,
1,
1,
2,
right?
3.
Wait, didn't the
Well,
Charizard come in Pogo, or am I trolling? Oh, no, it came out with all the other ones.
a
No, wait, it
crown
came with
zenith.
4. There was 4. There's 4 in from Pogo because we got the
No,
Eevee.
no, this is a promo.
Oh, so it was like 5 sets of 3?
5 sets of 3.
Oh, well, that's what we could see with Apex, I guess, 5 sets of 3. I
Yeah.
mean, if they don't give us another one in this set, I wouldn't be shocked. I was just kind of assuming we would get one, but maybe we'll get 5 sets of 3 again.
And then we've got a new Miraidon EX. This one is a dragon type Pokemon. It's a future Pokemon, 220 HP, lightning colorless, expelling bolt, does 60 damage. And if your opponent's active Pokemon has any damage counters on it, this attack does 100 more damage. And then for a
Broken.
lightning psychic colorless, Cyber Drive 220, this Pokemon can't use Cyber Drive during your next turn. I think you'll have a hard time choosing to play this Miraidon over the other one.
Or many other cards, unless we get like a double future rainbow energy, which is what this thing needs. Like,
Yeah,
like it needs something like that.
to
We're not
stand a
there
chance.
yet. Yeah. Um, the Corona has a little bit more potential though, because it is an ancient Pokemon, and we do have Sadas. But the energy cost is still pretty expensive on this one as well. The first attack is 2 colorless. You can do 20% for each damage counter on it. You can build up that damage with your second attack for fire, fighting. Yikes. 280 though. And of course it is ancient. So you can put the tool on there to get 60 more HP, but you do 60 damage to yourself. So you're like effectively removing your own tool card off the rip to do that 280 damage. So this seems like this is maybe like going to be an inclusion in like a Lost Zone deck, maybe to be honest, like as your heavy hitter over like a Dragonite or something. 280 is a
Yeah.
lot.
It's a Giratina
Um,
V as a basic, bro.
yeah, but I don't know if I'm trying to like chain back to back of these in like a deck or anything like that. So it feels like it fits more of a tech card type role in like a Lost
Iron
Zone deck.
Hands, Roaring Moon, Koraidon EX. Knockout Charmander, knockout Charizard, knockout Pidgeot.
It is Dragon type. It's not Fighting type. Yeah, I could do that. All right, you figured it out, Chip. All right, let's go to the next. I think we could skip. We can. I mean, I'm down to skip this one. We can
That's
keep
fine.
moving. We can keep moving. This one is also really bad. We can keep moving. Keep going. Now this one though, I actually think this card is really good.
We're checking out the
Sandy Shocks.
Sandy
All right, read
Shocks.
the Sandy Shocks. Read it. You
Yeah,
go.
this one is cool. So it's 120 HP, basic fighting type, ancient Pokemon. It's got the magnetic blast attack for one fighting, 20 plus. If you have 3 or more energy in play, this attack does 70 more damage. And then Power Gem fighting colorless for 60. So what you were saying earlier, Azul, one prize, ancient Pokemon. This one seems not bad.
Yeah, like if your opponent opens a Ralt or something like that, you go second as an ancient deck. You play as a one of in your Raging Bolt deck. Sada for 2, attach for turns, switch into the Sandy Shocks, knock out the Ralts with a 1 prizer instead of a 2 prizer. Don't discard any of your energy. You start getting those aggressive KOs. You don't leave a 2 prizer in your active, and you're still taking that knockout for turns. Yeah, the little Sandy Shocks, I think it's gonna be probably a good one of in any ancient deck that plays fighting energy for sure, which will be that Raging Bolt.
We can skip, I think, Iron Valiant
I
and
think it's
Screamtail.
Yeah, the one thing about the Iron Valiant I didn't notice until someone mentioned it is the Iron Valiant is like a throwback to Kyurem, Plasma Kyurem, which is
Yeah,
what the
so it's
kind of
a basic psychic type, 130
yeah.
HP. You didn't want me to read it, did you?
Well, no. We could go back to it. I was just saying, but
Yeah.
which is kind of feels like what I mean. The Cobalion is Deoxys. Like, yeah, it feels like this like the future Pokemon they're kind of building around Plasma Pokemon a little bit. They're
Oh,
taking a
yeah,
lot of
so was it Jake
inspiration.
Gearhart said we're gonna get, like, a Colress machine for
Yeah,
future
yeah,
Pokemon? Yeah,
which
yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense because they need some form of energy acceleration. So if it's a Colress machine, if it's a double future energy, whatever it is, they need it. But
And
any of that, to
then
be honest, the more I thought about that, any of that kind of stuff with Iron Hands is a little scary. Like any kind of extra form of energy acceleration with Iron Hands. I don't like the
yeah,
idea of
so
that.
they don't have to do it.
It feels like they're going to because these cards need it. So it feels like they're gonna fill the void. They probably already
But
have.
it
I mean,
can
they
be
already
okay
have
for
it.
them to just be, like, not that competitive.
That's true. They could just be bad, and I
Think
wouldn't hate
about
that.
Single Strike, Rapid Strike, right? Like, Single Strike was okay, but
It
it
had
was
its
never that
moments.
good as intended. The
Yeah,
best Single Strike was when it was paired with Lugia, which is not as intended, right?
fair. Yeah, maybe that's what future will be. It'll be single strike. Is that what we whenever they come out with like these two of what do you call it? The two double label mechanics in a
Yeah.
set. One of them will be single strike, one of them will be rapid strike. And it looks like ancient is gonna be a rapid strike and future will be the single strike.
And then
Team
last
Magma,
one
Team
here
Aqua.
is the Code Breakers solution. A future Pokemon, search your deck for 2 cards, shuffle the rest of your deck, and put those 2 cards on top of your deck in any order. Yet another functional reprint, Azul.
Yeah, Mallow we had a little while ago. Mallow was solid as like a one of in Zoroark decks. So we could see Mallow being honestly, Mallow has a lot more powerful or the code breakers, whatever, could be really good right here, or could be really good right now because we have Radiant Greninja. That's what my conclusion kind of was when I thought about it a little bit more. Is like we have Radiant Greninja. Turn one, whatever it's called, and then just get those two cards with the concealed cards. And then like if you played that with like Guardy, you go from concealed cards to get whatever you want into play another one, and then you get refinement into whatever you want. And
Yep.
maybe that's not enough draw power early on, but we'll probably see the any deck that has like built-in draw power, B barrel decks, Guardy, stuff like that will probably play that card as like a one of or two of, would be my guess. Would be my hope, to be honest. Not every card should have to play this as like a four of, but you would want this to synergize well enough with cards that have built-in draw power that it's played. Because it would really suck if this card comes out and it's just like, I'd rather play Research for turn, or I'd rather play Iono for turn. That's what we don't want. We want some decks to be like, no, I want that Code Breaker
I
solution.
want to play Arvin
Um,
for turn.
yeah, like we want to see more decks say that, because otherwise it feels like it is bad game design. That Research and Iono are as powerful as they are. They're the two most powerful draw supporters in the game. And that's fine to have like a baseline
Yeah.
to work around, but there should be points where other supporters kind of become a staple or a very good tech inclusion.
And I think
And
we
that
are
that shows
seeing
good
that,
game design.
like,
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now in the game,
And I
right?
think that shows the good game design, right? So a
Yeah.
Codebreaker solution moving forward, we're hoping that this is a good enough card as it is to actually be played.
Yeah, and you mentioned Mallow, but even farther back, it is the same as well as Oracle, a card from Skyridge. And this card, way back then in the 2003, 2004 formats, was the best supporter in the game. This was the research. Most decks played
I don't know if we
for
want that,
Oracle.
but I
It's
just
literally true. What are you
no,
talking
I don't know
about?
if we want that for a Codebreaker though. Like I'm
Oh,
hoping
sure,
that's not like
sure.
a
No, but I'm just I don't think we do want that. But
yeah. That almost sounds like, to be honest, like I didn't know that, to be honest, back then this was the supporter back then. That almost sounds like bad because then everyone gets everything they want every single turn. Uh,
well, and the way it was set up was around Delcatty with the energy draw,
yep.
Poke Power. You discard an energy from your hand to draw three, similar to Radiant Greninja, Or what you could do is you could Oracle and put a TV reporter or a Steven's Advice on top of your deck, and then those would draw you that you would like draw your supporter for turn to you know
Next turn, yeah, yeah.
to
For
do
next
whatever you want on next turn
turn.
because the game. Games took 20 turns back then, and that is not how it is now.
Mhm. Not quite 20, no.
I don't think we're a far shot away from getting back to 20 turn games.
Especially, which is a little bit disappointing, to be honest, seeing all these basic Pokemon. I was hoping for more evolution stuff. I was really starting to dig the evolutions, even like V-Stars being stage 1s. But yeah, all the powerful Pokemon released in this initial set of more future and ancient stuff, they are all basics.
And I think it's
So,
okay for there to be like sets that are
of
focused
course,
around
yeah.
basic stuff that's really powerful, but then I just hope that they can follow it up with stuff that's really powerful that is just more traditional, stage one, stage twos, right?
Yeah, and we might see some of that in this set as well. I'm sure we will. But all ancient and future Pokemon are basic. So
They
like
are, yeah.
we are doing the ancient and future stuff. That's something I didn't really think about initially when were getting the first of it. Is like all the follow up ancient and future stuff is also going to be basics. So there's going to be like what 2 more sets of this probably of ancient and future stuff. We'll see.
Yeah, there's a
Or
few
could
that we
fill out
haven't
the
gotten. I
would it
think
ever
we've
fill
gotten a
out the rest
card
of
at
the
least
year?
for all of them at this point with what's revealed.
Would it fill out the rest of the year and we'd have like 4 sets of ancient and future until next rotation? It's possible, right?
Possibly. I'm gonna look at the list of Paradox Pokemon.
Yeah, we definitely are. Well, we don't have a Flutter Mane EX. I think that's like a pretty
Yeah, but
easy.
we at least have a Flutter Mane, right?
Yeah,
Is what
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean.
Oh, so how which ones are we just missing?
And I think it's nothing. I think we've got
Oh, we got all of
everything
them
now.
now? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. We were just missing the Flutter Mane. What else did we get in this Flutter Mane? The all the
The
other
the
ones.
new ones, the
Oh,
Iron
maybe this
Leaves,
is it then.
Boulder Crown.
Is it just 2 sets of Ancient and Future maybe then?
It is possible, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm down with that as well. If that means like no more we're less basic focused moving forward to the other sets. Again, like Chip said, it's not bad to have like this set be basic focused. It's just like we're hoping that it's not every set moving forward. Because yeah, the evolution stuff does feel pretty cool right now. A little bit of a mix of it feels nice because you have like the Gardevoirs and the Charizards, and you also have the Miraidons, and then somewhere in between you have like the Lost Tina, and then even the Lost Zone decks and stuff like that. So the good mix feels nice overall. To be the honest thinking about the meta right now, we have everything in the meta. Right, you got the control, evolutions, strong basic decks. Mew still around, of course. Mew and Tina are kind of like this powerful stage 1 decks, if you want to call them that, whatever. So yeah, the meta feels really diverse right now. I know some people say diverse meta doesn't mean it's a good meta, but a good meta is a good meta, whether it's diverse or not diverse, and it feels pretty cool right now. So it's a good one.
With all that said, Azul, I think that's gonna do it for us this week. You got anything else you wanna add?
No, I think that's it. I'm excited for these new cards. Unfortunately, we're not going to get them for a while. They're gonna get these. Japan's gonna get these cards at the end of January, and we're gonna get shiny or Paldean Fates. Paldean Fates.
Yeah, we're so excited for Paldean
It's
Fates. Here
so
we
far
go.
away. I'm more so excited for rotation than anything, I think. But yeah, we're just it's a ways away for us. It kind of sucks. It's like it's like knowing what you're gonna get for Christmas really soon, and but you can't open it till Christmas. It's like knowing what you're gonna get for
Yeah.
Christmas in November, and then you have to like wait. But we have to wait 3 months. So it kind of sucks. But at least we know there's cool stuff on the way. Or maybe it's better because maybe Prime Catcher will ruin the game. It'll feel terrible to play. So we have 3 months before the game ends. So enjoy the game before it ends in March. You can look at it both ways, I guess. So
Ruin
be
the
good,
game
could be
just like
bad.
Iron Hands
Yeah,
did for
the
sure.
silver lining here is that the game could be terrible when the new set comes out. So we shouldn't be so excited for it. No, I'm sure it'll be fine though.
All right. Well, thanks everyone as always for listening. We appreciate your support. And if you do want to show that support just a little bit extra, the best way to do it is to just drop us a like, leave a rating, a review, totally free, takes just a couple seconds, and it helps us out a lot, helps more people discover the podcast. So we really would appreciate that. If you want to stay up to date with everything happening with us, the best place to do it is over on Twitter. You can follow myself at Chip Ritchie. Azul is at Azul_GG. And you can follow the podcast as well at uncommon_energy.
Yeah, appreciate the support as always. Catch y'all next Wednesday, 7 a.m. Eastern. And catch some of y'all right now in the bonus episode.